We are gold and blue, born in 1872. The greatest team in the world, we are known. As we follow on, we are the people through and through, the gold and blue since.
Good evening all, welcome to Bold and Blue 1872. My name is Chris and we are coming to you live for the very first time with a special show for our transfer deadline day. I am of course joined by my friend Jack. Jack, how's things? How's the day been?
It's been a tense day, shall we say, at the very least. I've been on WhatsApp, Twitter. I mean, I wonder what my phone usage is. I mean, my battery's just hanging in there, no more.
Yeah, I've been. It's been relentless today, just constantly looking. Even though, we'll get to it, right? In terms of potential rumors that have been going on today and stuff like that. But yeah, we've come online at a good time. There's just been some news dropped in the last hour on a couple of different signings. So before anyone is wondering, in case you're not aware, obviously the yellow tie is synonymous with transfer deadline day. Now, I'm going to start by taking this off because Jim White is a bell. Thank you very much. But bit of fun. Yeah, listen, it's been a long day, and anyone that is tuning in, I know there's a bunch of other Rangers shows that are going live at the moment. So if there's anyone out there that's tuning in, we do appreciate it. Yeah, listen, let's get straight down to it. In the last hour, Jack, Mr. Nadiri has formally signed for Rangers. A lot more money than we expected to pay by the sounds of it. We're led to believe it's 5.5 million, potentially rising to 6 with potentially a 20% sell-on clause in there. Rangers or Danny Rule must have really wanted to get this one across the line. What implications does that have on another rumour that is still potentially could happen? However unlikely, but we'll get to that in a minute. So yeah, Mr. Nadiri is going to be a Rangers player now, not in the summer. What do you think, Jack? Are we happy? I'm assuming we're happy, but what do you make of the signing? The fee in general is a lot.
The fee is a lot. I think is it the most expensive transfer fee received for a third division player in Germany. So that in itself is wild. I mean, it's Mr. Kavanagh's money. If he wants to spend it, then by all means. But yeah, it's definitely a lot more than I thought we would pay. What I will say about is he's got to hit the ground running. And it's as simple as that, really. I've actually watched a little bit more about him since we linked with him. Some of his finishing does look good, but it's very hard to, is he a very good player, but in a division where maybe there's players that are not so good, it's quite hard to gauge, but I did like what I'd seen from him. But at the end of the day, we have a striker. We wanted a striker. So at least we've got it over the line now.
Yeah, every player's a gamble, right? There was some big teams that were interested in this guy. Kaiserslautern had previously been interested in him. Red Bull Salzburg had been interested in him. Red Bull are not looking at a player who's not decent. Do you know what I mean? So, I'm led to believe as well that just from reading a bunch of news over in Germany, if we hadn't got some deal done, whether it be for this window or for the summer, the chances of us getting them in the summer, like leaving the deal until the summer, would be unlikely because there was a bunch of clubs that were sniffing around them. So that's a good sign. And yeah, I mean, he's definitely going to be pretty useful when it comes to our set pieces, which we've obviously been pretty handy with our set pieces recently. I mean, this guy's 6'4", so. But yeah, I've been watching quite a bit of him as well. I think he's really good at bringing other players into play. just kind of, just one touch, knocking it down, getting someone else, finding space for someone else. On top of, obviously, I mean, the goal record is decent. Nothing out of this world, but decent enough. Obviously, he hasn't played a lot of senior football. That would be my other, that he's a bit of an unknown quantity. Playing in the third division in Germany, not really playing any senior football prior to that. So, but listen, it's a striker in the door. We've got it done. And there was obviously a lot of back and forth today whether or not it was going to happen. Then we heard we were told in the morning it was agreed, but it was going to be the end of the season. Then in the afternoon, we heard that he was on his way to get his medical done, but we still hadn't agreed a fee with Hansa Rostock. And only in the last kind of 30 minutes have we heard that has all been finalised. So yeah, glad to get this one done. Now, one of the other rumours that is coming off the back of whether or not Nadiri would come was the Archer signing as well. I believe the transfer window is a bit. I'm not overly clear on this. The transfer window closes at 7 p.m. down in England, but they can still, if there was a note, some sort of notice of interest or transfer submitted, then they have until 9 o'clock to actually get it completed. Apparently, the Archer deal is still out there, pending what might happen between Wolves, Palace, and Southampton in terms of like it's kind of like a domino effect, right? If one of them's going to buy a striker, the other one's going to replace them with someone else's striker, and so on and so on. And one of them would be leaving Southampton short, so it would be unlikely that they would let Archer go. But by all accounts, at the moment, Southampton have not sold any of their strikers. So, this one's not been very popular with the fans, I need to say. I don't know if you've been keeping an eye on Twitter. I think you have, Jack, but it's I don't know. Do we need Archer on top of this? I did mention the last time we came up, Nadiri might be a little bit similar to what we've already got. I don't know. And Archer's something different, that's for sure. What do you think of that one?
I'd actually said this to you the other day that I would be, and I'm definitely going against the grain here and saying I'd be kind of interested in taking the Archer deal. I think he has that different profile. I mean, don't get me wrong, I have not watched a ton of him. I have seen him play in the past. And that's out with the YouTube highlights, before he got his move and whatnot. And I just thought he looked different. I thought he looked creative. I think the problem for me is I think I look at him as a forward player, but not an out-and-out striker. I think that's what I feel about him. The goal record in the Premier League wasn't great. I think it's slightly better, like in the Championship.
Yeah.
But not like, you're not this, number 9 you could hang your hat on. But I think his actual kind of output, outline numbers in terms of like, things from like, all the statisticians love it, from the runs he makes forward to the passes he attempts, he's involved. And I quite like a player like kind of buzzing around, and I think sometimes when I look back at the Hibbs game the other day, there was just nothing, no movement. I mean, I know we talk about team selection, all that kind of stuff, but I've never heard Danny Rule shout and scream so much from the sideline about getting forward, trying to drag players forward from the side. And even Manny Fernandez gets up there. Where's people moving forward? Someone like Archer, for me, doesn't hit me as a player who would want to hang back. He would want to be involved. So in terms of like, for movement and whatnot, I would be keen to take it. Again, a very different profile from Mr. Ryan Nadiri. But again, it is that domino effect. Is it going to happen? They've put their deal sheets in and whatnot up to 9 o'clock. But I don't know. I would take it as another attacking option, I think, is the way I look at it. But I don't think he'd be coming in with that, out-and-out goal scorer, and I think I would have been disappointed if we got him in and not Nadiri in terms of the profile, if that makes sense, even though Nadiri is an unproven quantity. So would I take it on top of it? Yeah, I probably would.
I've got, that's just, by the way, the likelihood of the Archer one, considering we've got Nadiri done, is probably diminished somewhat in the last hour. And that there was reports earlier on that it just wasn't happening, period. But it's still not been completely shot down. And like I said, if that transfer window down in England is anything to go by, he's probably available. Dare I say that Archer and Nadiri might make a really good combination together. I know we don't tend to play two up top, but I don't know. He definitely might complement Nadiri and vice versa very well. But the likelihood of that happening is probably slim. But we'll be here till late for anyone that's joined us, and thank you very much. If you could like and subscribe, we'd really appreciate it. We'll be here till late until the window shuts. At least I will anyway. I don't know if Jack might need his beauty sleep, but I'm ugly enough as it is, so I'm fine. But we'll be here either way until the window shuts. For anyone that's just joining, Nadiri will be a Rangers player. We have signed him for 5.5 million, which is a third division in Germany record. Breaking the right kind of records since Russell Martin left now, aren't we? One other signing, or an outgoing, I should say, that's been confirmed in the last kind of hour is Joe Rothwell has finally, it seems like this has been going on forever. He's signed for Sheffield United. Joe Rothwell, Jack, don't think anyone's going to miss him. No idea what the hell's taken us this long to get it done, to be honest. I was told 2 weeks ago Sheffield United were signing him, and then it's taken until this point. Maybe it was the Champions League. We wanted to retain him and just to have that additional depth with the squad that we registered. I'm not sure, but finally it's done. Joe Rothwell is off to England. I believe it's a permanent move. It's not, but I don't think it's been formally announced yet, has it? But I believe it's a permanent move. So, yeah, Joe Rothwell, thank you. Thanks, but not going to miss you, mate. What do you think of that one, Jack?
Well, there you go. 13 minutes ago, Rangers Football Club can today confirm Joe Rothwell has joined Sheffield United on a permanent deal for an undisclosed fee. Departs with the best wish everyone at Rangers. I mean, see, to be honest, it didn't work, which is fine. Transfers don't work. I mean, I think it's a strange one because I'd seen bits of him in the Championship, and I thought this guy looks like a player. I genuinely thought it would be like not maybe a level above everyone, but a level above like the majority of players in the division. But what I will say is he's not hung about in terms of maybe certain other players who are here for years. Are we going to move them on, etc., etc. So I mean, from that point of view, I appreciate that. I mean, I'm sure he will not be out of pocket, shall we say, going back down to the Championship. But again, it's a strange one. Like sometimes I always think it's that club's just, I don't know, posturing, all that stuff. Like why, as far as I was concerned, it was done about 2 weeks ago. But you do have a point regarding the European places, etc. Because I thought the same with Finlay Curtis before he went out on loan. Like, why is he still here? It was all done and dusted. But again, it makes sense. But fair play to him, no harm to him. But thanks, but no thanks.
Yeah, I don't know. I was. In retrospect now, it feels weird saying this, but Rothwell was, out of all the signings we made, was someone I was really excited about. I'm just bitterly disappointed how bad he was. I don't know if it was it Martin that fecked him up. I've no idea what happened. He was, whenever I seen him down south, he always looked a very, very decent player, and just didn't look anything like that player when he came up to us. I don't know. Like, I've heard people saying that Martin ruined him, trying to play him as a 6 when he wasn't a 6. And right, but so Martin's been gone for months now. What's happened in the time then? Did he spit the dummy because the fans were on his back and told them he wanted out? I don't know what happened with him, but don't. Not going to miss him. I think that's the bottom line. I think it's one off the wage bill that we definitely had welcomed getting off the wage bill. But yeah, I mean, where are we at right now? Again, for anyone that's just joining us, Nadiri is signed for 5.5 million. I'm just reading there. I believe it's euro now. I heard earlier on it was pounds, but I think it's euro. 5.5 million euro, potentially rising to 6. 20% sell-on clause apparently is part of that deal as well. So we've forked out for this lad. Nadiri will be a Rangers player now, not in the summer. Joe Rothwell has signed for Sheffield United for an undisclosed fee. So what we're looking right. So we've got Tur Romans has come in at left back, 3 million. We've got Toshi Chikwani, who's come in for 4.3 million. Skov Olsen comes in on loan, option to buy there. I've heard rumours of anything between 7 to 10 million on Skov Olsen. I've no idea what the amount is, but potential there. Players going out at this point: Rothwell, permanent; Dow, permanent; Cortez to Hurricane. He's went on a loan with an option to buy. It's not an obligation. Lau Cameron has went to Aberdeen on loan. No options there. Finlay Curtis to Kelly on loan. I'm going to get to that one. My pet peeve, Finlay Curtis. And yesterday it was also announced that Clinton Inciala has joined Westerlo, who we signed to Romans from a couple of weeks ago. So I'm not sure how that couldn't have been thrown in there to sweeten the deal. But anyway, Clinton Inciala has joined Westerlo on loan with an option to buy. It's not an obligation. So yeah, I don't know if you'd have told me at the start of January we'd have got a left back, a centre mid. I would have preferred a six specifically, and I don't think Chikwani is that. It's a right winger in Skov Olsen and a striker. I'd have been happy about that. It doesn't appear a lot of. But I'm not saying all of our fans are unhappy, but there's a significant portion of our fans that don't seem overly happy. I need to be honest, I'm happy. I think this, again, I would have liked that number 6. Probably would have liked a centre-back as well. I'm pretty happy with that business, Jack. I need to be honest. What do you think?
I think first and foremost, you just look at it as a January window, which everyone talks about being notoriously hard to get any sort of business done. Not any sort of business, but, you look at tonight, have we maybe overpaid for, well, I'd say, yeah, for Nadiri. And that's not in a panic, but it was like, we need to get him in now. But you look at the rest of the business we've done, I think it's so far, you'd hope that it's got some decent value to it in terms of, age profile, looking at, potentially in the future. Someone like Skov Olsen, I mean, I think everyone was just about, it was like the second coming of Brian Laudrup for a lot of people, like when, he was signing. And I think if you'd said to me that was the business we were going to do, yes, I would be happy. I think the ones you touched on, I think we would be being greedy about looking for those extra players, if I'm totally honest. But I mean, I don't know if this is more to do with on the back of like the game yesterday, the Hibbs game, how the teams played, and then going actually a wee further away from where we wanted to be. You're never going to fix everything in January.
Yeah.
I think if you really think back to where we were way back at the start of the season, or even when Martin left team, should I say? I mean, from where we were then to where we are now, and we knew that was a business we were going to do, still be in a title fight. I think most people would be like, I'll absolutely take that right now. So I think it just needs probably a bit of perspective. But I mean, at the end of the day, football fans are football fans, and you're entitled to demand and want as much as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. It's January. Do you know what I mean? There's only so much you can get done. Let's be honest. I mean, all you ever hear from managers and clubs and pundits is how tough it is to do business in January. So, like, could we have brought in more players and they were substandard? I'm sure we could have. You know what I mean? There's plenty of players that aren't getting a game for their club, but there's a reason they're not getting a game for their club. So, these guys are, Skov Olsen wasn't playing much, but still very reputable individual who's proven it elsewhere prior to Wolfsburg. Tur Romans was at a star at Westerlo, and Chipwani was one of the first names in the team sheet at Graz. So we've signed established players from very decent teams across Europe. Nadiri, coming from the third division, but like I said earlier on, it's a player that seems to have been getting the attention of a number of very decent clubs. So he must be a decent player, and it shouldn't matter if I've said this before. Shouldn't matter that we're shopping in the third division in England. That's these markets are the markets that we should exploit. Whether or not we should be paying 5.5 million in a market like that, not sure about that. But for all we know, this boy will go on to be Van Basten. We just need to trust the club is signed the right guy here, and let's see what happens through the rest of the window. So, I mean, we've got another couple of hours left in the window, Jack. I mean, what's your thoughts in terms of? I mean, not a great deal of rumours left out there. I mean, the Archer one is pretty much it. Is it possible the club might pull something out the bag that no one's aware of? Yeah, possible, but it's not looking likely at the moment. I think Archer is slim, but possible, and I think that might be about it. Where would you be in terms of like happy with the some of those other positions that we probably would have liked to have got filled this window?
I think if I look at if I was to maybe that classic way of scoring the window out of 10, like where I sit now with it. I mean, if I'm being really honest, I'm probably about a 7. That's the God's honest truth. Like there's lots of players in there that I'm like, absolutely that player looks like a player. I know I keep going back to Scott Wilson. I mean, if he comes in and hits the ground running, we have to look at the fact he hasn't played a lot of football, but if he did come in and hit the ground running, that kind of changes the narrative in that. I mean, I've seen some narratives of saying he's just another Sam Lammers, and I was like, wow, guys played 2 games, not even 2 full 90s. So I would be happy. I mean, I just do not see it with a last minute signing, and they'll keep us on edge right up to the death, and tell us we can go to bed now, or at least if Chris Jack's out there, at least just put it out there that we're done for the night, and I can stop worrying about it and hoping that something's going to happen.
It's funny you mentioned the Reaper. The Reaper has struck again somewhat. Just about 20 minutes ago, saying the deal for Nadiri has not been finalised yet. So the clubs are working to get it done before the 11 p.m. deadline, but as of now, he understands no final agreement has been reached. Oh, it's a spanner in the works, that one. I mean, it's positive if he's saying they're working to get it done before 11. The guy's been in the UK all day. He's done his medical, I understand. So, I suppose from that perspective, are we being fleeced here, Jack? Is Rostock just taking us for a ride on this one and getting as much as possible? I don't know. It feels like that.
You can't. I mean, you can't complain. From our perspective, maybe, but I mean, if it was the other way around, we'd be probably trying to do the same as well. But I mean, I don't necessarily think we operate like that a lot of the time. But I know what you mean. You feel in a bit of a position as in like they really need this player. Let's let them go over and do a medical, etc. And that could very well be. There could be an aspect of I mean, I know the player wants to join from what I've read, but I don't know. Like, it's a strange one for me, the fact he was here doing his medical, in terms of he's in the UK. They need a striker. So, let's do it. I mean, if it gets done, like completely done, I have more faith in it from the perspective. I think back to players such as Hamza Agaman, even Alfredo Morelos. Like, yes, the fees weren't as much, and I will say that. So either it's a relatively modest fee for a potentially, unbelievable talent, or we've absolutely just paid over the odds for a player who's maybe not going to quite cut it. But I'm going to stick with the first belief I have that it is going to work out. But here's hoping it gets done before 11, because that would be that. I think that would make everyone feel a bit flat, and the whole window would fall flat because of that. I think. Because we've been kind of waiting on it all day, or even the last couple of days. But today particularly, we know he's here. Is it going to be him? Is it going to be Archer, etc., etc.? Never been told that it's done on one hand, and then Chris Jack doing Chris Jack things in terms of tempering expectations as usual.
I mean, he is the most reliable correspondent there is out there. So, I mean, it was there was a number of very reputable sources that were saying it was done. I mean, Plettenberg was saying it was done. He's very rarely wrong, but I mean, if Chris Jack's saying it's not done, who am I to say that's not accurate? It's a strange one, isn't it? See if we'd had left it late in the window to get the free signings that we did sign. Let's say we were sitting here today waiting for Skov Olsen to get done right. I think most fans would be like, that's a pretty decent window, the three that we've brought in. But because it's been a couple of weeks since we announced those guys, and there's other positions that everyone knows needs to be improved, you're kind of left wondering what's been going on the last couple of weeks. But like I said, we're trying to get good players. It's not that easy, is it? So
it's a bit of a double-edged sword, I think, in terms of the club. Like you say to them, get your business done early, but because you've got that business done early, right, where's the rest of the business is expected? Whereas if this was to wait till the end, you would be pulling your hair out at the club for most of January, but then you get 1, 2, 3 signings in the last couple of days. You'd be like, fantastic, that's it. Let's go, let's do this. It would have a different kind of impact to it. So I think that's probably been the tightrope they've had to kind of walk. But I think also just to add on that, the fact is you're seeing so far one player out of those three who's looks to have settled the most. And I know it's only a couple of games, but you're looking at someone like Skov Olsen, doesn't look match fit. You've signed a player who's injured effectively, in terms of Tor Romans, in terms of he's not fit, ready to play. And the only player is Tochi Chukwani, who looks to be settling. So, your exciting player, the big name, is not doing it. And then we have been through enough players we've signed who've been injured and they're only 7 to 10 days away. I think that also kind of impacts it quite a bit.
I mentioned this the other day as well. And listen, I want to keep it negative when it comes to Nadiri, but not the best injury record now when you're talking about injuries there. A repetitive kind of injury that he's been having as well. So I think Skov Olsen for me, like they say wingers blow hot and cold, don't they, right? They always kind of drift in and out of games, and one day they'll be a world beater and then the next game they won't touch the ball. But he had a baptism. I don't know, baptism of fire is the right way to describe it, but you make your debut at Ibrox, and you know what Ibrox is like. Do you know what I mean? If you like Barry Ferguson said, you've got 5 minutes to prove yourself out there. Do you know what I mean? And I know it's an exaggeration, but he's not far off it. I think Skov. I've seen touches of how classy he is, just glimpses of it, but. Yeah, it was pretty. I mean, we'll talk about the Hibbs game in a minute because we've got a couple of hours to fill. So, but Skov, he needs more time. I like the last thing he needs is people online saying he's shite. Do you know what I mean? And him seeing the press and X and all this kind of stuff, and it could just destroy him before he even gets started, because I'm convinced, whether or not you agree with that or not, every fan's entitled to their opinion at the end of the day, but I'm convinced there's been plenty of players that have come to Ibrox and just folded under that kind of pressure and expectation from the fans, and I'd hate to think that a player of that significance, that all this fuss has been around, we don't give him that opportunity to get off the ground. So It's been 2 games, but yeah, he's been less than impressive. I think that would be an understatement. And saying that, I mean, that Hibbs game, did we have an attacking line? It was just appalling, wasn't it? I mean, we've not had a chance to catch up. But I mean, let's talk about the Hibbs game, mate. What did you think of it?
It was awful. Now, do you know what? I can watch a lot of football and think, you can see not so much effort, but like you can see where things are trying to go and they're just not working out, and I can be pretty calm about it. That's the first time probably since like the Russell Martin time that I've been really apoplectic at the end of it, like because I was just angry at everything. Don't get me wrong, there's definitely an added tension when you can't drop points. People talk about your point gained. I'm very much of the opinion it's 2 points dropped. I just seen nothing. I just seen nothing all game. Like just nothing. Like that and that's how I feel about it. It was like a nothingness game from the Rangers' perspective. And I think, Manny Fernandez gets past marks for me. Jack Butland, pulled off a couple of saves, keeps us probably from, but other than that, I'm like, what? Nothing happened. Like you said, I actually thought, and this is going to sound a bit contradictory and it's not meant to be, but I actually thought we started well. It seemed like we were going to build into the game. I wouldn't say we started like a house on fire, but it just then all kind of fell apart. Like there was no structure. The Hibs were just rampant, hitting the ball over and getting us turned, and it just looked far too easy. Like far too easy. So I definitely think yesterday was the angriest I've been in a while watching Rangers.
Yeah, I'd mentioned this in the chat earlier on, Jack. I don't know if you'd seen it, but are we becoming overly dependent on our set pieces? I mean, scoring goals from set pieces is something we've been complaining about for the longest time. So I'm not diminishing it whatsoever. I welcome it. But I don't know, like our attempts from open play yesterday was non-existent. I seen a stat earlier on that I think we're 4th or 5th in the goals from open play since Danny Rowe took over as well. So, but we're obviously top of the set piece goals. So I don't know. Like for me, there's a bit of luck in set pieces, but probably more luck in set pieces than there is from open play. And do you become a little bit easy to kind of work out when you're there's certain set pieces that you probably get the run off now and again, but if you do it often enough, teams will become familiar with it. Do you become overly dependent on that as well? So I mean, it has to be a balance of both, and right now, I don't know that. I mean, that was horrible yesterday. It really was. I was frustrated, so frustrated. And I know it's sacrilege to be given any criticism to Danny Rowe right now. It is what it is. I get it. He's winning games, and I am in no way, shape, or form am I being negative towards what Danny Rowe has done since he came in. But again, yesterday I've mentioned this a number of times. The substitutions didn't make sense to me, and didn't really do much to change the game. Mikey Moore definitely changed the game. He was far better. But I honestly, he plays fellow week in, week out, and I don't get it, Jack. I don't get it. Don't get it.
I'm going to, before I go on the Thello point and the general substitutions, which, I know you bang the drum about the substitutions, but even yesterday I was really perplexed by some of them. But on the set pieces, I mean, even they weren't great yesterday. Like, not beating the first man or the delivery. The one delivery I thought was good. You've got Manny Fernandez completely missing it, which, we can let him away with because he has scored a lot of them, but it just felt like nothing was just going to happen. And I was talking recently, now taking away the 2 goals he scored at Celtic Park, Yusuf Chimiti. I was more impressed with his all-round play in terms of holding up the ball, getting involved. Even yesterday, but he wouldn't go near the ball. You're not going to get the ball, make your way into the box. There was just nothing. He was so static. And I remember watching them pick up the ball, not even him, but just a midfielder pick up the ball, and I could just see all these orange shirts, just nothing, just not moving. Just it's almost like, right, you go, so then you can give me the ball. There was nobody making that run. And then you think of we're definitely being so reliant on the set pieces. And Danny Rowe, he has done really well, but I actually, in a way, feel it's kind of regressed slightly in terms of I'm more talking about the performances, not the results. And it was going to catch up with us. There was a couple of games. So it was a game at Ibrox. I think it might have been St Mirren. I can't remember who it was exactly, but we started like a house on fire. Chances, fast moving the ball, moving it about, and I just feel that's kind of out of the game a bit. Tello Asgard, I mean, he's contributed in terms of goals and assists and whatnot, but I thought honestly, it really was an empty jersey yesterday. Like, just nothing from him. He wants too much time in the ball, and that just slows everything down. You really need that, someone who's sharp, decisive. Even when you talked to Mikey Moore, I think he made a difference. Even when Diamandi came on, I thought we looked better as well. And just on the subs, I mean, I know, not Tav's biggest supporter, like nowadays, and a lot of people are. Yeah. But if you're going to bring on a fullback, right, why would you not bring on one who's more likely to score than Max Aarons? There was a point when Max Aarons got in the box towards the end, and the guy looked like he had no clue. Like, as if he'd never been that part of the pitch, in another box in his life apart from his own. And I'm like, Tav's there. Tav either sticks that in the net or picks out, a pass that, leads to a chance. Yesterday was just so wrong. Like, as a whole, I don't really feel that. I don't massively blame Danny Rowe. I think I definitely feel there was a lack of intensity from the players, but massively, like, just massive lack of intensity. And I think that's the thing for me. That's what gets me the most, and we'll get a lot of Rangers fans. I can take getting beat the odd time, but it's the lack of effort and application for me that really drives me up the wall. And like you said, players like Scott Wilson, just wasn't in the game, just nothing. I thought Chukwani done quite well in terms of winning second balls, duels, looked really physical, and I was like, this looks great. But it was just a nothing day, and we are lucky to get out with a point. I think that's the only way I can view it.
Chukwani did really well for the first 20 minutes, and then he kind of disappeared out of the game as well. Glimpses now and again, but I think there's definitely a good player there. I will say, though, we'll continue this in a minute, but just some news that's just broke there. Ryan Nadiri, this is coming from the review. Ryan Nadiri has been prioritised over Cameron Archer, so it doesn't look as if both of them will be an option. It does look like it'll be Nadiri that we're throwing all our eggs into that basket. But does that it doesn't say that Archer's off the table, it just says we're prioritising it. So yeah, interesting. So that, I mean, even that would confirm that Nadiri deal is not done yet. So yeah, but getting back to the Hibbs game, I think the reaction online that I've seen, it's one game, right? What I would say about this is, because I keep hearing, and I've said it myself as well, we're all going to drop points, right? Celtic, Hearts, ourselves will drop points. But it's the manner of the performance that is concerning. And I've mentioned this before as well, that our performances have not been great. We've been getting results by hook or crook. We've rode our luck a lot. In my opinion, anyway, we've rode our luck on a number of games. But we've been winning. I kind of felt like it was a matter of time before a result like yesterday would happen. Now it's a draw at the end of the day. It's not the end of the world. We've dropped some points on Hearts. We're level with Celtic, and they're just ahead of us in goal difference now. But is 6 points we're behind Hearts now? Is it 6 or 7? Yeah. Six. So I mean, is that going to be a mountain too far? No, of course not. We've still got to play Hearts twice, so we could claw it back against them alone. So, but it was just a disappointing result. Like I was so frustrated watching that. But what I was getting at there, sorry, was just I do think the online reaction has been, maybe it's because we're still in the January transfer window as well, and people are using it as leverage to say, right, get something done because that result wasn't good enough. I'm not sure, but they aren't. Again, everyone's entitled to their opinion, but it's far from over. It's 2 points we've dropped. It's not the end of the world, but can't have performances like that. Can't. It's just not good enough.
No. I think even if you just go back to like when Danilo scored his goal in the 1-0 win over Hibbs, back on the other side of Christmas, that wasn't a great watch either, really. But there was a bit of quality there. They scored the goal. There was definitely more chances, going forward, and you kind of go, right, okay. I feel the teams get structure to it. I just feel it needs, I don't know. It seems stifled in some way. And I don't know if that's. I know people talk about this, and I don't want to bang this drum, but is it that kind of added expectation? It's easier when you were in third place and you're, chasing teams down, but you've almost got both positions. You're expected to stay ahead of the team behind you now, and you've got, the team in front that you're trying to catch. And everyone is going to just be. I mean, that you talk about demand, it's going to just keep getting, higher and higher and higher the longer and longer you're in it. So, and it shouldn't come as a surprise to at least many of those players anyway, who are, they've seen the side when it doesn't go well with Russell Martin at the start of the season. So,
yeah,
I don't know. It's only a couple of points, but I'm just going to be totally honest. Yeah, did I think maybe some of the reaction was a bit much? Yes, of course, but could I be honest and say I felt a lot of it yesterday? Yes, I did, because everything feels a bit on the knife edge. And I think you tie into January window, even when you've just brought that about, the deal's not necessarily completely done, I'm going, I really need this to be done. I need something to hang on to in that regard, because, again, it will just feel really flat and the mood music will change a lot.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, when we're talking about the Hibbs game and the performance yesterday for anyone that's just joined us there, but yeah, just the news of the day, Rothwell has joined Sheffield United. That has been confirmed as a permanent move. The Nadiri, despite prior reports, has not Nadiri from the move from Hansa Rostock has not been complete yet, and apparently the team at Rangers is prioritising getting that one finalised ahead of the move for Archer, but it does appear the potential for Archer is still there, but it will be one or the other or neither by the sounds of it. Yeah, so again, just to confirm, in the last couple of days as well, Clinton Enciala has moved to Westerlo on loan with an option to buy. Finlay Curtis was confirmed as moving to Kelly on loan until the end of the season. Lyle Cameron, earlier in the month, moved to Aberdeen on loan. Cortez to Hurricane on loan with an option to buy. Dow and, again, Rothwell have both moved permanently. Tur Romans, Toshi Chukwani and Skov Olsen, as we are right now, are the only free transfers of this transfer window. And hopefully we get Nadiri done before the deadline at 11 p.m. But to confirm by the looks of it, and again, coming from probably the number one Rangers correspondent that's out there, in Jack, he is claiming that this deal is not confirmed and not complete yet. So watch this space. We will let you know as soon as that is confirmed. Right, Jack. Did you see the rumour earlier on that Raskin? This is apparently absolute bollocks for anybody that's seen it, by the way. Apparently there was a 30 million bid from down south for Nico Raskin. Absolute pish, apparently. So, yeah, for anyone that has seen that rumour out there, not true and was shot down very quickly. However, there was a couple of other bids that have been made in this window. We did speak about them the other day there, but yeah, Gassama, 10 million. Chermiti, apparently 13 million. Fenerbahce were reportedly coming back with more. I'd heard that there was potentially a 15 million inquiry made by Fenerbahce, even at 13 million. 10 million for Gassam. I just I understand not wanting to rock the boat when you're in a title race. But these guys at that kind of money, I don't know. I don't know if I agree with the club's decision. It's not as if we didn't have, like, the Gassama offer was about 5 days ago, wasn't it? 5-6 days ago. Chermiti the day after that. Both of them were the same day, actually. I think it was about 5 days ago. Or maybe there was 24 hours between them. Either way, we definitely had 4 or 5 days of the transfer window left to try and get something done with that money. Chermiti has scored 4 goals. Gassam has scored a couple of goals. 23 to 25 million for the two of them, Jack. Would you have taken that?
Right. So when this happened, and this was probably before the Hibbs game, maybe the Porto game. I remember talking about it. I think if I would have kept any of the two, it would have probably been Gassama. However, I would have yesterday at full time. I would have driven Chermiti right to the airport, packed him on the plane, leave him in the overhead, whatever. Obviously, on the basis I was feeling, I think the Chermiti one is. I think that's probably money you should look to take. It's just been up and down from the very start. I don't view him maybe in the same light in terms of someone like a Cyril Dessers, right? Now, Cyril Dessers, for all his flaws, a guy could miss 7 chances. He's going to go back in there and he might bang in the 8th and the 9th one, which is something you could always rely on. When I watched yesterday, I keep going on about it, he was just nowhere near in the box, but then didn't do anything outside the box in terms of helping the team. The Gassama one, I would like to keep him. I think he could do well. However, on the basis of how he's been playing, do we not keep Finlay Curtis, as I know you have said, and then take the money for Gassama? Because when he came out in the set, he didn't do anything yesterday again, like just nothing. Like, pick up the ball and turn maybe on a foul, but he was picking up the ball just inside the half, and then it just was nothing. Like, there's not enough effort application. So I think, you could have, but then it's like, who are we going to get to replace them in terms of now? Obviously, just bodies, but in quality, like, I don't know. I don't know who they could have looked to do it. But I mean, and then now Finlay Curtis would probably do a better job based on how Gassama's been playing.
Yeah, the Finlay Curtis loan to Kelly is looking, but by the day, it's looking like a bit of a poor decision, to be honest. I totally understand you want the lad to go out there and play more football. Selfishly, I think we needed him kept around. An impact player, if you want. For me, he should have been a starter ahead. Maybe I think Gassama should be the impact player. I think it should be the other way around, personally. But I think as soon as they kind of made their mind up that Curtis was going on loan, the conversation about accepting any money for Gassama became very different. So I honestly, 10 million for Gassama, I genuinely, I'll get to the Chermiti one in a second. I feel that is money that we will probably never see again for him, because I don't even know how we've got that offer for him, to be honest with you. I know there's talk about the ceiling being quite high, and he's, there's other clubs in Europe that are interested in him. Whether or not any of them will come back in with a 10 million bid, I don't know. I've got my doubts about that, and that if you're talking about a trading model, you're supposed to sell at the right point, aren't you? With these guys, it's not, and you should have a plan B for another player or whatever it might be. If there is a trading model, I don't know if there is a trading model anymore. It looks as if it's just been torn up. I mean, what we've spent, if this Nadiri transfer goes through, which for anyone that's joining us, and thank you all for tuning in. I can see we're getting viewers coming in from X and YouTube, and this is me and Jack's first time going live. So thank you very much for tuning in. We do appreciate it if you could like and subscribe if you haven't already. But yeah, we are if Nadiri gets done, and again for anyone that's joining, that is not confirmed yet. It has not been complete, despite other reports. Rangers are trying to get it across the line before the deadline, but it has not been complete yet. If we do get it complete, we're talking about the best part of 14 million quid in a January window, on top of what we already spent in the summer. Listen, I've had my criticisms of Kavanagh, but the one thing you can't criticise is they're definitely putting their money where their mouth is. Whether or not the recruitment's been what it should have been is a different story. I think maybe they've depended on some people calling the shots on those transfers. One in particular, we won't go back there. But yeah, they've definitely been willing to spend. Can't criticise them for that, Jack, can we?
No, and I think that's very much so. Like, I think that's one thing is, there's always been a reluctance to spend, and with things that happened in the past and whatnot. You'd be coming to this window and you'd be looking for maybe a couple of loans or a couple of, kind of £1.5 million signings. You wouldn't be looking to pay the €5.5 million for Nadiri, and on top of what's already been spent. But I just, like you said, it's down to who's actually doing the recruitment rather than, the money that's being spent. I just can't believe we've actually spent the money. It's been a long time since I've seen Rangers spend that kind of level of money. But the chump change for Kavanagh. Very much so. I mean, he's probably found, I've said this a few times, the €5.5 million down the back of his sofa. But I don't know what, I can't remember a January like it, if I'm being honest. And as I said, I've been spending that money and there's still people complaining a lot, which it just sums us up as Rangers fans, I think.
Yeah, Sean, thanks for the comments. But yeah, we were just talking about the Nadiri transfer is not being confirmed and it's not being complete yet. But and also, again, for anyone that's joining us, the Archer deal was secondary to Nadiri. Nadiri was the priority. Cameron Archer was the backup. It does appear that both are potentially still on the table, however unlikely the Archer one is. But Nadiri is the priority that they're trying to get done by 11 p.m. None of the other moves, to my knowledge, at this point anyway, and it's now after 9 o'clock down in England, none of the other moves that would have scuppered the Cameron Archer move have actually came to fruition. So there's still, listen, anything can happen, albeit slim. Ryan Nadiri is the one that we're trying to get done. Cameron Archer is still on the table, apparently. So, listen, Sean, I don't disagree with you at all there, mate. I think, we are still short, though, lads. My thoughts on Asgard. Listen, Asgard aside, I personally believe that's 6, and I think a lot of people, when you talk about a number 6, you think of a combative 6. I'm thinking of that creative 6. I'm thinking of a Stephen Davis. I'm thinking of a Barry Ferguson. I'm thinking of those types of players that can, grab a game by the scruff of the neck, control the tempo, and have a bit of vision about them. We have no one like that right now. I think Raskin thinks he is, maybe, but I don't. He's certainly not doing it. So yeah, I don't really. We're not going to get a 6. It's not going to happen. Barron is obviously still taking back from injury, but he's not that 6 that I've just described. I said it earlier on, you can bring in all the strikers you want. If you can't create anything for them, what are we doing, So, listen, Nadiri might be the difference maker, and we're all hoping that's the case. But I mean that game yesterday, I think, was a prime example where we just lacked being able to unlock a team through open play, and a lot of it was just wastefulness, slowness, passing side to side in the midfield. Yeah, I don't know, Sean. I think you're right. Asgard is a whole different conversation, but I think that creativity in that midfield, the spine for me has just not really been addressed, has it? I mean, Chukwani, is he really addressing the spine? He definitely gives us different options. But yeah, no central defenders coming in, no 6. We did bring an 8 in, no 10, no striker yet. I mean, and all the talk prior to the window opening was that we needed to address the spine. All the talk was that we needed experience. So far, we've not really done any of that. Skov Olsen's experienced. The other 2 lads, they've played quite a few games, but would you call them experienced heads? Probably not. So yeah, what do you reckon about that, Jack? Have we addressed? Have we really addressed what was needing addressed, or partially, or I assume that it's somewhere in between, isn't it?
I think in between is a fair point. I mean, you look at we talk about the right hand side, like Sean's just jumped in, Halloween me scoring for us, we don't create. I think that's a fair point. I mean, looking at yesterday, like I know I've been going on about Chermity and not getting into the box, but the guy's probably been dropping back to try and get a touch of the ball because there was just nothing coming in. And that's me being kind on him. But I think we've definitely addressed some things. Like we needed another left back. We got a left back. We needed something on the right hand side. We got that. I think the 6 thing, we needed a 6, but I think it's become more kind of pertinent because of the Conor Barron injury, for example. A centre half, I would take a centre half. Don't get me wrong, I think Manny Fernandez has come on leaps and bounds, and for me at the minute, it's probably the first name on the team sheet in that defence.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, it's just I think there's I think we could have fixed some other positions, and then we'd be going, but we still need to fix those positions. So I think we've kind of landed in the middle for a January window. But just having a scroll through next when you were talking, and we talk about that sentiment you're seeing about like the wider kind of fan base, and someone said spent the guts of 50 million on players and nothing to show for it. So there's people definitely feeling a bit like that. So I mean, we go on and win the league, then nobody really cares much at the end of the day. But I think people thought we were going to be tooled up more for a challenge, and it's maybe not quite feeling like that because there's still glaring weaknesses in that squad. Because, like you said, your spine of your squad, who's your stick-on midfielder, your stick-on defender, your stick-on attacker. You wouldn't pick really anyone right now.
Yeah. It's a lot of money, isn't it? I mean, when's the last time? I don't even think Advocaat spent that in a season. I think the most he spent was about 40 million. Need to double check that, but I think this is the most we've ever spent in one season. I'm pretty sure it was the Tory Flow season. We spent about 38 million or something like that. So yeah, this could be the most we've ever spent. When you put it like that, when you consider some of the players we've seen grace the pitch at Ibrox, and you say that this is the most we've ever spent, and you look at what's out there right now, it's it's a bit dire, isn't it, when you think about it that way? Who knows? Like, and we'll see, but I don't even want to get into there. Who knows what the wage bill looks like now as well? Do you know what I mean? A lot of these players, I mean, Ant-Man, Fellow, even Rothwell, players like that. You'd imagine that these guys, they had some clubs that were interested in them. It's not as if we were the only ones that were sniffing around them. So they probably would have had some other clubs that were offering them decent money as well, which means, obviously, in a competitive market, we have to maybe pay them a little bit more. So you never really know if the salaries that are reported out there are accurate. unless you see somebody's bloody wage slip, you never really know. But I can only assume our wage bill is significantly up from last season. I would assume after the kind of all the culling that went on last season as well under PC. Yeah. But yeah, listen, again, back to what my point earlier on. Cabin has definitely put his money where his mouth is, but yeah, I don't. The fans are not happy at the moment. I mean, there's a lot of people that are putting a positive spin on it. I'm one of them. I need to be honest. I do, like I keep saying, if we maybe got these 3 players across the window and not just announced them all at the same time a couple of weeks ago, and it's been all quiet since, then I don't think people would be responding the way that they are right now. Imagine if we'd signed Skov Olsen on the last day of the transfer window. Do you know what I mean? It would be the response from the fans would be very different. But we didn't. We signed him 2 weeks ago, and he's played 2 games, and he's been pretty shit. So that's just the reality. Fans expected us to address more, and after that result yesterday, I think that's just kind of further compounded it, in my opinion. It does. So for anyone that's joining us, an hour and a half left in the transfer window. Ryan Nadiri is apparently, by all accounts, the only player that we are looking to sign in this transfer window. It has been confirmed by the review as well. Sorry to keep quoting the review, but Jack is the best man for this. Doesn't look like we'll be signing any other midfielders. Certainly, by all accounts, we have never been in for any defenders. So Nadiri or Cameron Archer, it is by the looks of it, and Cameron Archer is a long shot, but Ryan Nadiri is the priority, but it is not complete yet as of right now. Reported earlier on that a 5.5 million euro deal was done. It was not done, apparently. But the club is working to try and get this complete before the end of the window in 87 minutes. So they're not cutting it fine at all, are they? Yeah. I don't mean to keep banging on about it, but the number 6 is really bothering me. And if Jack's now saying there's absolutely no chance we're bringing in any other midfielders, I am more worried about that than I was the number 9.
I'm just going to jump in there on that, because I've seen a lot of sentiment about we don't create enough. And I'm not saying we do. Like, looking at yesterday, there wasn't a lot of creativity. But I do genuinely think so. You have to look at like I keep saying, I thought the team was very static. There was no real forward movement. I keep going back to it, but I mean, the amount of times I've seen Chimati come out of the box to try and get a touch of the ball, to get a bit involved, and Manny Fernandez strolling up the pitch, and looking around, where's my run? Where's something happening? So, I mean, if we were making those kind of runs and players were not seeing them, and I feel like it's just crazy. What I will say about is bringing on Bajrami at right wing. I'm not saying he can't do a job out there, but it just seems a bit bizarre considering you're letting players go who could play in that side. Or that was just a strange one for me yesterday. I go back to these kind of subs. Like, again, I'd probably played Tav there, to be honest with you. But I just feel the team yesterday was very static. I felt like there was a lack of movement watching it. And, if they're not going to make the effort to run, then you're not going to have any players opening up gaps or drawing players out to actually be able to make those passes in the first place. Whether we can pull them off or not is a different story entirely. But you could also point to the lack of, players taking, men on, like taking your man on, like, 1v1. There was probably a severe lack of that as well. So I'm not saying we're not overly creative, but I do think there was a real lack of movement, particularly in the final third yesterday. So, you've got midfielders picking up the ball and they're like, what am I doing with it? The fact that Manny Fernandez, I'll go back to it again, could stroll all the way up to the Hibbs, edge of the box near enough. nobody once made that offer for him was just, perplexing. Oh, you're on mute, Chris.
Lovely. I was thinking about this earlier on. Can you remember, like, I know Miovski's not played a lot of games, right? Can you remember Miovski missing any sitters this season? I can't remember him missing anything. Whenever it's been put on a plate for him, he's buried it. Now, it's only been a few times, granted, right? It's not good enough. I'm not, but when he has, but when it's been put on a plate for him, which, he's buried it. I can't remember him missing anything. Chamiti, on the other hand, has missed a few that I feel he should have done better with. But even both of them combined, when you think about the course of a season and how many misses that even your average striker or a decent striker, how many they miss versus how many they convert. I think our strikers have actually converted the vast majority of. Like, if you were to look at their XGs as individuals, it would probably be quite high. But just not creating anything, Jack. They're not putting it on a plate for them. And if Rowe wants to play the way that he's playing, I don't know what kind of striker is going to make a difference without that creativity behind it. I mean, what is it? What are we expecting Nadiri to do? Like, he's 6'4". Right, he's a big beanpole. Is he going to take it from 30 yards out, dribble past 4 players and smash it in the back of the net? It's not going to happen.
No,
it's not at all.
No.
Yeah, and this as well, Sean. I totally agree with you. I don't know what's going on with Fellow. For me, Fellow is a moments guy. But certainly since he's been at us, he's been a moments player. Over the course of 90 minutes, he's very often a passenger. And we're talking about creativity. He's been playing in that kind of number 10 role. I need to pull up the stats. If anybody's got it to hand, then please do share it. I mean, how many assists is Fellow created this season? I can't remember. Any, maybe one. So he's scored a couple of good goals. Listen, his free kick the other week there, regardless of who the opponents were, was world class, absolutely world class. But again, it's a moment in a game. He's not doing enough over the course of 90 minutes for me, and I don't get it why Rowe keeps playing him. I do not get it. I mean, don't even get me started on the fact that we loaned out Cameron. Instead of using Free that dominated them at the Pig Park in the second. Yeah, I know, mate. I know. I don't know what the answer is. I'm not a fan of Dio Diamandi. I gave him his dues the other day there as well. He'd been playing a bit better recently. I'm assuming that's the three that you're talking about, Sean. Is it Dio, Raskin, and Toshi you'd be referring to there? Or, I'm not sure, but I don't know what the answer is. There's like Dio's not renowned for being creative. I don't know what to do there. And again, without that 6 or to your point, the 10 maybe someone that's better than, more creative than Fellow. Without either of them, I don't think the striker makes much of a difference. Just don't. Yeah. Listen. We're only the only person we're going to sign in this window is by all accounts it looks like is a striker. So I don't mean to be negative about it. He might be a worldie and he makes all the difference. He might completely annihilate my words there. But I just don't understand who's creating the opportunities for him.
I think that was the question I was going to kind of pose is, like, if not Fellow, then who, like, out of who we have, if that makes sense. Do we play a number 10 or do we look at a change of system? But I will say it, like, Delo Asgard is infuriating purely on the basis that he is technically very gifted from what I can see. He's physical in terms of his size and stature. And I'm just very much like, you know, he's got the tools there, but just don't ever seem to put them together. And the one thing that really, really drives me is he wants too much time on the ball. I've said that all the time. He just wants to take an extra touch, you know. And then I was watching it the other night. He ended up going backwards. Like, you know, he'd had it, he'd taken it kind of down the middle of the park, and then went back towards the own half. And I was like, where are you going? Just pop it off somewhere else. Like, you know, don't go back the way. Don't slow it down. So I don't know. I don't know who you put in place of that, or if you change it.
Yeah, I don't think we have. I don't think we have the options available to us to be able to change it. That's what I'm concerned about. Yeah, I don't know if it's heart, Sean. I think I mentioned this earlier on. A lot. I mean, you can imagine playing in Ibrox and it's not going well, and what it can do to you. I'm convinced that's what's happened. I mentioned this earlier on before you joined as well, Sean, but I'm convinced that's what's happened with Rothwell. He's had a bad start and he's been like, get me out of here. Do you know what I mean? I'm not, because he never got a sniff on it. What did he play? One game in the cup, was it, the other week there? Do you know what I mean? It's it was the Ludogorets game, wasn't it? He played the other night. I think that was his only appearance. So from that perspective, it was in the last couple of games, whatever game it was, he played. But that's the only time I can remember him playing under Danny Rule. So to my knowledge, he wasn't injured the whole time either. So something's been going on there. But I think Fellow might be very similar. I think he just, you know, he's shitting his pants to make a mistake, basically. And that's why you'll constantly see him passing sideways or backways. Takes a certain type of person to be able to play at Ibrox. I think we've heard all the legends say that before. You know, the attitude is everything, and you need a set of balls to do it. So, you know, maybe you do wonder sometimes if these guys just understand what they're coming into. Do you know what I mean? I mean, what's the expectations at a club like this are very few and far between. There's probably only a handful of maybe about 10 clubs in the world that have got that level of expectation on them. And I might be even being generous there. I mean, how many leagues in the world is there where there's only 2 teams winning the league every single year? There's a few of them, but not that many, you know.
But I think just on that, you're talking about that, and I think that's the thing that you can never even quantify it, and you know, in words. Like, you know, they can say they understand, they can be told all the, you know, the stories, the tales, what to expect, etc. I don't think they get it until it hits them either out in that pitch, good or bad, you know. And I kind of think that way probably about Rothwell. I think he's just like, nah, I'm not here for that, you know. Like, it goes back down to I don't want to be horrible at the kind of the championship kind of obscurity where you know, he's not going to get hassled every kind of they drop points, or, you know, a point away would look like a good result in some of these places. But then the Asgard one, I mean, I'm going to be really honest, I was quite excited about Asgard. It might have just been the name, you know, the name, the hairdo, you know, plays for Norway, but he's also you know, from he's a Scouser as well, which is just mad. But in all seriousness, I look at him and I think there's the player is there in terms of the capabilities, but he just cannot do it. Like, he just cannot do it on match days, and that's stuff with popping up with goals. And you know, you go back to that free kick. I mean, that free kick was outstanding, but then you got a free kick in the Hibbs game, and I think it was awful. It was a terrible free kick. Like, he had a chance, you know, it was, you know, definitely closer, if I think, than the one against Annan. And again, that's a more of a pressure moment. Like, you know, you need to do something in that free kick. And he couldn't do it. Just nothing happened, nothing came for it.
Yeah. I mean, that Moore's saying there that Moore would offer way more. I think I put my team out on X yesterday and I had Moore in the number 10 role. I would have liked to have seen Gassama, Moore and Scove Olsen behind Chermiti. But then again, that's the best that I've seen Moore play for us. He's kind of played as a left 10. If that he's not quite a winger, not quite a central 10, kind of playing off a left 10 role. Where that's the best I've seen him play for us. But I do, yeah. Would I play him? Would I play Moore ahead of Fellow at number 10? 100%. 100%. I would. I know. Again, I get panned every time I say a bad word about Danny Rule. Sometimes I just don't understand some of these decisions. He's doing a great job. Before anybody pans me, I'm not saying sack Danny Rule or anything. I'm saying that there's some decisions that he makes that I just don't agree with. I mean, just for anyone that's joining us, and thank you for anyone that's joining us in both X and on YouTube. This is me and Jack's first time going live for a special transfer deadline day pod. We will be here until the end of the transfer window. If you could please like and subscribe if you haven't already, we would really appreciate it. The support we get has been incredible. So as we are right now, we are still, let me just double check, make sure there's not been any update. Nadiri, despite prior reports, has not completed his move to Rangers yet. The club is working on getting that done before the 11 p.m. deadline. Ryan Nadiri and Cameron Archer were the only transfers that it looks as if we're even on the table today. Cameron Archer, as slim as it looks, I haven't seen that the potential for that move is completely off. But what has been confirmed is like Ryan Nadiri is the priority. So it will either be Ryan Nadiri or Cameron Archer or none of them. That is as we stand. So our window, if we get Nadiri done, it would be two of Romans, Toshi Chukwani, Scove Olsen. So a left back, centre mid, right winger, potentially a striker. Going out, we've had Rothwell confirmed today to Sheffield United on a permanent. Dowell went to Hull on a permanent. Cortez, the forgotten man, is out in Hurricane on loan with an option. Lyle Cameron moves over to Aberdeen a couple of weeks ago. Finlay Curtis last week confirmed for Kelly on loan. And yesterday evening, Clinton Enciala was confirmed, moving to Westerlo on loan with an option to buy. Now, Clinton Enciala, Jack. This one, I'm a bit gutted with this one, to be honest with you. I cannot believe for 1 second that Clinton Enciala, I know he plays on the left centre, and Giga is a right centre, but how does he not get a game ahead of Giga? I have no idea. Giga is still with us on loan, is still getting the game, albeit it was because of injuries. But Enciala was not getting a sniff. And obviously, your man moved over to Westerlo. He's now I think he's our head coach now, isn't he? That he was with us, the Moroccan guy. What's his name? Sorry. He's at Westerlo anyway. But obviously, he fancied Enciala because he's taking him over to Westerlo. I wish Enciala all the best. I think there's a player in there. He is going to get a lot of time on the ball over at Westerlo. It's and I think he will flourish. And I hope we've got a signing on fee in that. A potential future transfer percentage off of that one, because I think that boy could potentially go for a lot of money playing in that league, getting the time on the ball that Westerlo will give him. So I'm a bit gutted to see this one happening, but what I will say is I don't think he was cut out for the Scottish game. Could that have been worked on? probably. But what I will say as well is I haven't seen a passer of a ball like Enciala for a long time. He could put a ball in a sixpence easy, no problem. So that maybe I got carried away with how good of a passer of a ball he was, and maybe I was forgiving him too much in the other areas. But he was big, he was athletic, left-footed, you know, had his upbringing at AC Milan, touted by Maldini as the next best thing, you know, next big thing, and you know, I just again wish him all the best, but again, another one where I'm a bit kind of scratching my head that he didn't get a sniff. What do you make of the Enciala one, mate?
I mean, I agree in terms of, I mean, you look at, you talk about where they play. I mean, I still think he could do a better job than Nasser Jiga. I mean, it's just, he was the one person that did not want to come back from international duty, and, you know, just hoped his team went as far as possible in the African Cup of Nations, just so he was away from us. But the Enciala one's a strange one. Yes, do I think Scottish football probably didn't suit him? I think that's a fair point. Could have been worked on, absolutely. I mean, you're talking about a guy who I don't think there was much of a fee. I cannot even remember, but you know, you've got a guy who's coming in from that schooling of AC Milan, which, you know, maybe they're not the way they used to be, you know, these Italian clubs in the league back in the day, but still a very, very big club, still a very kind of elite youth level to be in. His passing, I thought, was pretty good. Was pretty. I was going to use the word exquisite, but I mean, I'm not saying he's the greatest passer of a ball, like you said, ever. But the guy could pass a ball. I mean, we all lauded Connor Goldson for quite a few years for, you know, that raking diagonal that he could play. I just think, you know, you talk about players like stepping in, like, you know, you talk about your centre half stepping into the, you know, the park and squeezing the game up and being able to, you know, maybe step in and play a ball. Like, could he not have been that player? Like, you know, if he got the awareness and, you know, probably even partly the confidence and experience to do that, like, he could have done that, you know, because he could pass a ball. The only thing I'm curious about is we talk about someone like Manny Fernandez. Now, he is, I think, a lot of people's favourite player at the moment. You know, I really do like Manny Fernandez. Yeah. But he's not entirely different in terms of, don't get me wrong, I'm not talking about the style of player, the stature, etc. But in terms of that whole scenario, like, we know he's going to have mistakes in him. We know he's going to, you know, he's not the finished article by any means. So why have we, you know, stuck with him? I know he's not been playing terribly, but, you know, and not gave the same opportunity to Enciala, if that makes sense. And again, could have went out on loan to a Scottish team. I think that would have done him the world of good in terms of, you know, going and getting regular football.
Yeah.
But it's a strange one. Just as Sean says, yeah, we better have a big sell on it. I would think so, because I think, you know, even the way he came back from Barry Ferguson, you know, he took him off, you know, at the Killie game, and, you know, and then I'd actually seen him in the St Mirren game, and I just thought this guy looked really good. This was towards the end of last season. And just even the way that Martin bombed him out and he still hung about and he came back into, you know, integrated back into the squad. He's never complained. You know, he's just gone with it, you know, or not complained overtly, if that makes sense. But yeah, it's a strange one. I mean, I was excited when he signed him. Quite sad to see him go, and I do agree. I think he'll get a lot of time in the ball over there. And the coach's name is Issam Shirai.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's worked with him. You know, he'll see him up close, so he knows what he's getting.
Yeah, there was talk of him going on loan to Motherwell only a couple of weeks ago, and even in the last week, Enciala was rumoured to potentially be going to Motherwell. I'd heard maybe Kilmarnock as well at one point. We'll talk about Cameron and Lyle Cameron in a bit more detail in a minute, but Motherwell for me was just sounded perfect, absolutely perfect. Are you telling me Motherwell wouldn't have taken Enciala? But I don't know what the ins and outs and the workings of the loan market's like. But if you've got a player with a high ceiling for potential, sure you loan him out for pennies, right? Pay him $1,000 a week. And we'll pay the rest. We'll pay the rest of his. Don't know what Enciala's on, but for the potential to turn a player into multi-millions, surely these other clubs in Scotland would take them off your hands and give them game time. So Westerlo ultimately is where NCL ends up. I don't know about that fee, Sean. Is that confirmed? I hadn't heard what the potential sell-on fee is. If it is 1 million, pennies in it. It is pennies in today's football for a player with that potential. Well, alleged potential, let's say. He didn't really show all the goods with us, but he did show some glimpses of a really, really talented footballer. I got shot down for this at the time, but when he was getting a run of games, I thought that he would be a really good 6. I thought he would make an excellent 6. It's one of those ones, isn't it? Just fantasy football, playing in your head, thinking about what you can do with these players. But Jack's saying they can sign him for $1 million in the summer. Sean is saying, okay, £1 million. I hope it's pounds at least. If it's euros.
No euros, that's right. I never thought of that.
Right, so again, anyone that's joining us, Nadiri seems to be the only one that is potentially still to happen, despite prior reports. Nadiri has not been confirmed yet. It is reported a fee of around about 5.5 million is in the works, but has not been confirmed. The only other one that was potentially going to get done today, if Ryan Nadiri does not get done, was Cameron Archer. However, that, again, we are now 63 minutes from the end of the transfer window. It does look as if it's not Ryan Nadiri, it probably won't be Cameron Archer, and it probably won't be anyone else. We are not interested, or by all reports, anyone else this transfer window. So it will be, as you were, Tor Romans, Torshi Chukwani, Skov Olsen, and potentially Ryan Nadiri. 2 other players that went out that we've spoke a lot about over the number of weeks, Jack. Lyle Cameron went to Aberdeen. Now let's forget about the club that he went to, right? But let's just talk about him. Again, we're talking about lack of options in that area of the park. If fellow Asgard is not that player, Lyle Cameron, I believe, was 19 goal contributions last season at Dundee. For me, the closest thing to Arfield that I've seen in Scotland since Arfield. I know people disagree with that. That's how that. And he can play on the right. He can play in the centre. He can play a little bit deeper. But I think he's most effective as that attacking 10 coming into the box. And he's proven that he can create and he can score at Dundee. I still think this was a mistake. However, for whatever reason, probably similar to Nsiala, Danny Rule does not fancy Lyle Cameron by the looks of it. I don't know what has happened, or if it's just he just doesn't fancy him. Maybe it's the size of him. Maybe it's the build, the height. I don't know. I know we've spoken about this one, but it is transfer deadline day. Let's rehash it in the cold light of day now, given we've not done any other business in that area. Was Lyle Cameron moving to Aberdeen a good idea?
I mean, on the face of it, you say no. I mean, this is something what I don't understand about us as a club. There might be other clubs that do it as well. It's like, it's so obvious. It's staring you in the face in terms of, here's a guy who's plays in the middle of the park. We're talking about a lack of, creativity and goals and whatnot coming from the middle of the park. And you've done it in this league. Yeah, he's not in our squad, so I don't quite get it. He was one of the players that I was quite impressed with during Russell Martin's ill-fated, calamitous spell, if you can, whatever you want to call it. And I remember him coming on. I think he was playing kind of like left side not like an out-and-out wide midfielder, but kind of left side of like a 3, if that makes sense, in the middle of the park. And I thought he looked great. And in terms of just like breaking lines, getting forward, being involved, I think he was probably quite rough around the edges, yeah. But I mean, he's talking 19 goal contributions, like, you know, that. Like it's, and you talked about the Scott Arfield comparison. I've said that to you, and I've said that on here before, that I do think he does remind me of Arfield in that way, in terms of, you know, breaking it again. I mean, I don't know. It's a strange one. He definitely could have offered something. I have to say that I think it comes down to he just is not fancied. Like, and there is a touch on that about the kind of physicality side. Like, a lot of the players that Rangers signed, they look quite physical in terms of from Danny Rowe's perspective and what he's picking. Do I think he would probably not? He probably wouldn't have been a Danny Rowe choice of signing. Yeah, and that is a fair point. Like Sean said, if Rowe doesn't fancy him, won't play, you know, get game time and show his worth elsewhere. I do believe that. I just, as you said, I think he could probably do that here and give us another option, because I'm struggling. Like, I'm not saying Mikey Moore can't come in and play that kind of creative role, but he can go off the boil as well, you know. And it's like, where's another option from somewhere if we want to change it up? I do hope he goes away and does well, but I would like to see him at least be given the opportunity. Sorry, when he comes back next season, because I just don't understand it, you know.
Chances of that happening are pretty slim, isn't it? I mean, I said this before as well. He's already proved he can do it in the SPFL. He doesn't need to prove it.
No.
Can he get better? He's still young, of course he can. So going away and playing somewhere else at Aberdeen, probably, undoubtedly a bigger club than Dundee. I'll make the same comment about Finlay Curtis in a minute as well. Sending him to a club that's getting scudded week in, week out, probably isn't the best. Now, I know Aberdeen have made a few signings this window as well. Maybe they'll improve, and obviously still waiting to see what happens with if they made their manager appointment in the last 24 hours. If they haven't, then they're still managerless. So we'll see what happens there. But again, if he'd went to Motherwell, I might have been a bit more keen on that. Hibbs, maybe. Again, like taking my opinion of the team that we're sending them to on loan out of the equation. I don't think sending these players to teams that are getting humped most week is a good idea. But especially if you go back to what we were talking about earlier on, that level of expectations that's at Rangers, you're sending them to go and learn their trade at a club where the level of expectation is not very high at all, because they're getting beat every week and they're expected to get beat. Now, with that in mind, let's move on to Finlay Curtis. Just before we do, have Watson rumours disappeared now under Rowe? Would he end up in the same boat as Cameron? I think you might be right. Sean, see, to be honest with you, if you're Watson, would you come near Rangers right now? Finlay Curtis, for me, who we'll speak about more in a second, has more than proven that he was a very, a solid option at very least, if not a first team starter. Someone that had the potential to help in the first team. Couldn't get a game. He's 19. He's 18. No, he's 18, isn't he, Lyle? Finlay Curtis. He's still 18. I think he's 18. So he's 4 years younger than Gassama. Gassama's been, I mean, to say he's even blowing hot and cold would be a compliment. I think he's very really impacting a game. And then obviously on the right hand side, we've had problems all season. Ant-Man has been pretty dire. So if you're watching Finlay Curtis and Lyle Cameron, and Watson's not the biggest, again, physical player from a height and width perspective. I don't know if you're Watson. Are you thinking, do you want to come near Rangers at the moment? Should we be in for him? I think it's an absolute no-brainer. But the fact that we've heard nothing, I believe Aberdeen were in for him there. The fact that we have heard absolutely zero. Bolton Wanderers apparently made a bid for 500k for him as well, and Kelly have knocked that back. But Kelly would probably get more from a tribunal than than 500k if he comes to Rangers. I do have a friend that says that the Celtic fans are he is a wrong-yin, and he does say that the Celtic fans talk about signing Watson as well. But we haven't heard anything about Watson for a couple of months now. So yeah,
I'm just going to jump in a wee second. No, I'm going to just draw back something. I'm going back over it in my head, but I was thinking as you were talking about Watson, and I was talking about Leo Cameron and his physicality and whatnot. Danny Rose is quite a big fan of Conor Barron, so maybe that physicality point doesn't fly. I mean, he might be more physical in terms of like, you know, his strength and his stature, but he's not a particularly tall player. You know, he's not, you know, massively different from someone like Leo Cameron. So just putting my weird conspiracy thoughts out there, you know, because at first I was going, maybe it's the physicality, and you know, but then I've looked at someone like Conor Barron, who's, you know, undoubtedly most of the times first name in the team sheet for Danny Rose. So I don't know what it is. And like you said, if you were Watson, would you be coming? Probably not at the minute, at least. Someone like Finlay Curtis, like, you know, like you said, he can't get enough game time when he has probably been doing more than, for example, like you said, Gassama. But again, he's not going to go on that right hand side ahead of Scott Wilson when Scott Wilson's up to speed, which is fair enough. We can accept that. Can he do a job on the left? I'm pretty certain he can. You know, I don't think it massively impacts him the way it does with Gassama. Like, you know, you can be bad enough on the left, never mind talking about him playing on the right. So you would get more out of him, probably.
He played. Finlay Curtis has played all of his days coming in off the left or playing behind the striker in a kind of attacking 10 role. Scored an absolute shitload of goals in the youth teams through all the different levels. Never really played on the right. I don't know where it's kept. How all of a sudden he's it's this Rangers thing. I just square pegs and round holes, isn't it? He's somehow found himself being tagged as a right winger as well. Now I fucking arguing with somebody the other day there about Gassam, man. They're like, but Gassam is a left winger. And Curtis is a right winger. I mean, it's just Curtis is not a right winger. He's played off the left most of his days. So listen, I could sit here all night and bitch and moan about Curtis. It is what it is. It's okay to question these things. Doesn't mean I'm questioning whether or not Danny Rose is the right man for the job. I just think some of these things don't really add up to me. And on the topic of Watson, that who we were referring to there, is he looking at that from the outside in and thinking, nah, I'll go somewhere where I'll actually get an opportunity to play, which is a shame because we need Scottish talent. I believe I've heard different sides on this. I believe Watson, from someone I trust, is a blue nose. So you know that doesn't hurt either. That's always nice to have one of us. But it doesn't, like, back to your point, Sean, I don't think, haven't heard anything about it for weeks now. So from an outsider's view, it kind of looks like there can be no footballing issues at play with Cameron. Yeah, I agree. I think that I've seen some people kicking up a bit of fuss when he was giving his interview when he was heading off to Aberdeen, saying that he wasn't happy not getting game time, etc. I seen somebody saying that he must have been moaning, that's why he's not getting. I'm like, he should be moaning. Like you should be chatting on the manager's door every day saying, I want to play if you're not getting your opportunity. I don't know what's happened there. We'll see. But it does seem strange. So yeah, still nothing on the Dairy transfer. Time is running out here. Time is running out. We have got 50 minutes left. Ryan the Dairy, by all accounts, has not signed for Rangers yet, despite earlier reports. Big money for a German third division player. Would be a German third division record. 5.5 million euros, potentially rising to 6 That was the last we've heard. However, that was premature. I mean, what does that mean? Are we offering even more money for this boy? Is that, I mean, how much money? What did we go in for him for? Was it 2.5? I think originally was the original offer, wasn't it?
It was something like that. I'd read the Euros price. It was about something like 3.5, something around those. So that'd be close.
So he is not a Rangers player as it stands right now. The only other business that has happened today was an outgoing. Joe Rothwell has joined Sheffield United on a permanent deal. Thank you very much, Joe Rothwell. But no other players expected to come in today. We have 49 minutes of this transfer window remaining. Sean, he apparently, by all accounts, did his medical earlier on. He's been in the UK all day since this morning. I would assume if there was a problem with the medical, we wouldn't be having these reports at this point. That are still very reputable sources that are saying that we are still talking to Nadiri, trying to get this over the line. Most notably, Mr. Jack, my favourite correspondent, most reliable one, I should say. Bores me to death, Mr. Jack. No offence, mate, but yeah, very reliable and my go-to on all things Rangers. So, yeah, under 50 minutes to get this done, mate. I wonder if it's the club that's just stringing us along for a late announcement. What do you think? Are they at it?
Well, to be fair, that's usually the case when there's nothing to announce. Like, if there's going to be a couple, they would have, one at 9, one at whatever. But I mean, I hate that. Just confirm it. You know what I mean? And we can all just go, right, that's that, game over. Like, it's fine. Especially when it's really annoying when the deal's done and dusted and they still haven't announced it. So yeah, I don't know. It's strange. Unless it's one of those things that, like Chris Jack's getting the word from, his own sources, from a Rangers perspective, saying it's not, it's not done. And then you've got the gentleman over in the German correspondent saying it's done, from what he's hearing. So it's probably somewhere in the middle. But as Sean said, yeah, it is most definitely squeaky bum time.
Yeah.
I don't think I've been that alert at 10:15 for quite a while and scrolling furiously to see and refreshing, Twitter every 2 minutes. But I'd like to think it's going to get done.
Do you remember the days when 10:15 was early? It was a long time ago. Before kids, pre-kids, 10:15 I used to think was early. No longer.
Just going to cut across you there 2 minutes ago. Sky Sports Scotland. Ryan Nadiri has arrived at Rangers training ground as he closes in on a deadline day move from Hansa Rostock.
Yeah.
So
he's just showing up to the training ground. I he was there all day.
This was 10 past. So yeah. So
it's unreal. These some of these big outlets. You don't know what's accurate, do you? I mean, Plettenberg, is it you say? He comes out 2 hours ago saying the deal's done. He's very reliable. I'm not knocking him. Whatever's happened, it doesn't seem the deal was done. We're now 2 hours later, and you're saying that he's just arriving at the training ground. I suppose if he's arriving at the training ground, then it's a good thing. But helping out the R&R boys for clicks. I will take this opportunity, by the way, just to mention this. I first and foremost, I am probably, everyone knows me as Bluebells are blue. I'm all over just about everybody pod that's out there. So I'm an avid supporter of just about every single, and I say just about because there's only so many hours in the day. I'm an avid supporter of all the Rangers YouTube channels. I do my best to try and support them as a member and stuff like that wherever possible. And just by chance, I'd followed William from Hands Across the Water, which is a pod that is over in Northern Ireland, and a number of the supporters over there that run it. William had just because I followed them, had called out our pod and asked their followers to follow our pod. I hadn't asked them to do that. Never spoke to William in my puff. I just thought I'd give him a shout out. Thank you very much for that, William. I think that was a really nice thing to do. And again, it's I think William's one of these kind of guys that just believes in the Rangers community and supporting each other. So thank you very much for that, William. And just to give his pod a shout out, it's Hands Across the Water. I do recommend people give it a chance. They are a small pod that is starting to grow legs, similar to us. But do give them a like and a subscribe, and tune into them when you get the chance. And on that note, if you can like and subscribe to us, we'd really appreciate it. Because I'm always forgetting to ask people to do it, aren't I, Jack? There's not nothing else happening today, unfortunately. I think there was a lot of people that were expecting maybe another one today. I'm still no clearer on whether or not we were allowed any more loans. I never got to the bottom of that. You know how this whole youth thing about Mikey Moore not counting towards the loan quota. Never got to the bottom of it. So I didn't even know if we were able to sign any more loans, but I think there was quite a few people that were maybe expecting another loan to come in today. It's not going to happen, I'm afraid, guys. Anyone that's watching, we are down to Nadiri by the looks of it. I think this is going to get done, but we've only got 43 minutes. 43 minutes. And again, I do wonder what this fee will end up being. I'm sorry. I'm not going to be negative towards the player in any way, shape, or form here, but we have been fleeced here. We've went from 2.5 million to probably going to be about 6 million by the time we get this deal done. They have seen us coming and they have got us over a barrel, haven't they? I don't think Rangers probably feel that they've got much choice to get than to get this deal done at this point. I do wish that I could go back to the good old days when 10 p.m. was early, Sean, to be honest. It's been a while. It has been a while. So Chermiti, we never actually elaborated on this earlier on, Jack. 13 million we not back for Chermiti. We had a good talk about the Gassama 10 million. The Chermiti one, I know you said based on yesterday you'd bite the hand off him for that 13 million, but there is a lot of fans that have been arguing that he offers a bit more than just putting the ball in the back of the net. That's great for me, but I think you need to do both. You're either highly prolific and you score a fucking barrel, right? Chris Boyd, and not do much else, a la Chris Boyd, or you're Yelovich and you score frequently enough, but you do more. You know, you bring other players into play, and I mean, Dado Purcell is a prime example of someone who scored, once every 3 or 4 games, but done so much more. Do you know what I mean? And you could get away with that. Dado Purcell was one of my all-time favourite players, to be honest. I just wish we'd got him before his knees were gone, but Dado Purcell-esque, or you've got the Chris Boyd-esque, or Nacho Novo, these kind of players that are different types of strikers. Chermiti is supposed to be a target man, and I'm not seeing it. No. Or is it? Have I completely got that wrong? And I was expecting something else. I don't know what he is. If he's because his hold up play can be okay now and again, but I don't know, 13 million for a player that scored 4 goals in Scotland, and it's February. He scored 4 goals in Scotland, and it's February, and we got a bid for 13 million for him and said no. I don't know, but I can't get my head around that one. I just can't.
You must have the best agent in world football getting all these moves. I mean, it's crazy. I had tried to be a defender of him for such a long time, and I thought I'd seen some gradual improvement even before the goals at Celtic Park. I don't know what it is. I think there's something about him, but he's not an out-and-out goal scorer. I'm actually more convinced he's not even a striker at this rate. I know it's going to sound crazy, but the comparison I was going back to my head was Joe Linton at Newcastle. He was brought in for about £40 million as a centre forward from the Bundesliga. Absolutely, battered pillar to post, and now he's one of the first names on their team sheet. He's a more box-to-box midfielder. I don't even know if he's quite that. I don't really know what he is. Because I always think back to, like, I remember you're talking about Purcell and Novo and all that, but in terms of like recent history, you think of someone like Morelos. Morelos could, occupy a whole defence, when he was on it. I couldn't see Chermiti doing that. He's got a ton of pace. I don't know. I don't know where he sits. I don't think he's physical enough. Like you said, he's a big lad, but I don't think he's physical in terms of he's going to be able to sold him the magic beans. I mean, I find it crazy, and don't get me wrong, I know Theo has been involved in both of them, but that he's went for this level of money, it's just obscene. Like, I'd like him to come good. I think he does need to score more goals, but see if he could do more in terms of his build-up play and bringing other people in. I think people would give him a bit more time, but we still need that centre forward who's going to score those goals. That's it for me. But yesterday I was just so beyond it. Like, I get he's wanting to drop in and get a touch of the ball, but like somebody had to go forward. Like, I could not scream it anymore. Get in the box. You are a striker. Remember, you're a striker. Because even look at that goal, the first goal he scored at Celtic Park. To me, that was more of a striker in terms of, he's getting in front of the man, what he should be doing. He should nowhere near the box. And it's that lack of space he's getting in terms of, like, he's probably thinking, well, if I'll come here because I'm not going to get any space there. But like, you need to go make that space. You've got to kind of try and run him behind or stretch or do something. Don't get me started yesterday again. I'm just trying to come down from in the first place.
Is he living off the back of those 2 goals against Celtic?
I think he is at the minute.
Yeah.
Aye. I think he is at the minute. I'll be honest. I think he is. He definitely has to do more. But I think the thing for me is I think it was a Hibbs 1-0 game. And I thought he played reasonably well that night in terms of like his hold-up play, in terms of bringing people in. So I'm like, I've seen him do it, but it wasn't there for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Some days I just don't know if he fancies it. I know that sounds a bit. You see that about a lot of players, but he just looks, uninterested. Even for all his faults, Alfie wanted to get stuck in and maybe throw some elbows around, but it doesn't look like a guy who wants to just do nothing but score goals, which for me as a striker is just bizarre.
Yeah, I think we'd spoke about this before as well, but Chermiti almost looks like a number 10 to me. I don't even know if he's I don't know what he is. I really don't know what he is, because even when I just say it to myself, say it back to myself, he's not a 10 either. I don't know what he is. He was sitting so deep yesterday, so deep. I was screaming at the TV at one point. I think it was it Skov Olsen at one point? I can't remember if it was Skov or it was Barami. It was Bayrami. Was through on the right wing, and he went to cross it, and you just seen the entire Hibbs box with not a single blue shirt in it. He was the only one that was up there. And I was like, what? I was screaming at the telly. So frustrating, do you know what I mean? And surely they're not being coached to play that way. Surely they're not. I don't know. Sean, I was joking the other day there. I thought that Fenerbahce had maybe hired Kevin Felwell as the sporting director. maybe it would have made sense then, but no one else to play up to though. Miovski looks a shadow of the player he was. Miovski's not getting the service either, Sean. He's not. I mean, he was never a player that was. Again, what is Danny Rule? I mean, what would make a difference to Danny Rule's team right now? The only thing I mean, a prime Barcelona Ronaldo that can skin half the team. Okay, fair, perfect. There's not many of them out there. There's none of them out there. And certainly none that we're going to be willing to pay the money for. Well, I mean, we had Agamani, but you know, none of these. I don't think. I'm sorry to you know. Again, I'm not being negative about Nadiri. I'm glad we've got this. We're hopefully get this one across the line. But again, I don't want to repeat myself. I know I've busted your ears about this already today, Jack. But I don't see that what difference this striker's going to make when there's no creativity in this team whatsoever. Miovski has mentioned this earlier, Sean. I'm not sure if you joined us, but I can't remember Miovski missing anything this season. Whenever it's been put on a platter for him, he's buried it. Granted, it's only been a few times, but that just shows you how little opportunities that we're providing that guy.
Just on that bit, as Sean's popped up there about him looking gun shy. I don't know what game it was. I don't know if it was a Dundee game that we went on to 1-3-0. I can't remember what game it is. It's going to bother me. But he had the ball in the box, and all he had to do was hit it. He tries to take a back heel. Might have been Ludo Garrett's game. There was a game, and I just remember him. I had a chance, and I'm like, just hit it. Miovski, confident Miovski hits that, but he tries to play a back heel, and I'm like, that's not the Miovski that I thought we were signing. I know what you say. Majority, he hasn't had a lot of service, right? Granted, he has scored the majority of the chances he's had. I'm starting to convince myself that he doesn't. He's in the wrong movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In the wrong club. Yeah. Don't know what it is.
Don't get me wrong here, anyone that's tuning in. I'm not saying Miovski's the answer. I don't know what's happened when he's went. Was it Girona? He just seems to be damaged goods since he went there. And I've heard a lot of people making the argument, and I've made it myself, that the way that Aberdeen played just suited him down to a T. And he's never going to be able to play like that at Rangers because of the way that teams set themselves up against us. Never. So he might never, ever be able to produce the good at Rangers because he's just not that type of player. So I'm not for 1 second saying that he's the answer. However, I suppose my point is more to kind of shine a light on the fact that I don't remember him missing that many chances. Therefore, he's not getting the chances to miss them. He's not getting the chances to score them, and he's not getting the chances to miss them. And the same can be said for Chimati as well. I mean, Chimati for me is a bit more frustrating, but I think Miovski is up the park. He's just not getting the service, and you could argue that he should be coming back more. My frustration with Chimati is the opposite. I think he sits far too deep, and he's not up there in the box when he needs to be. But again, just risk of repeating myself. If you're not creating the chances for them, I don't think it matters, because none of them are going to skin a defence themselves. We'll see what this big lad can do. As we are, for anyone that is tuning in, we are still waiting on confirmation of Nadiri at 10:14, I believe. Nadiri was shown arriving at Rangers 10:10, so 19 minutes ago. Nadiri was shot by Sky Sports. Not shot, like not shot. He was. They got him on camera entering the Rangers training ground 20 minutes ago. So we are expecting this one to get done by the looks of it. Again, medical, etc., was all taken care of earlier on, we believe. So But contrary to earlier reports, Nadiri has not signed yet. And they are not half cutting it fine. So as we are right now at 10:30 p.m. with 30 minutes to go of the transfer window remaining, we have two Romans from Westerlo, a left back at 3 million. We have Toshi Chukwani, centre mid. I believe he's a left attacking 8. Other people disagree. They believe he's a 6. I don't agree with that, but whatever. Toshi Chukwani, centre mid from Sturm Graz for 4.3 million. Skov Olsen, we have brought in from Wolfsburg on loan. That is with an option to buy. Different kind of rumours. We don't really know what that option is. Could be anywhere from 7 to 10 million from different reports that I've heard. And like I said, we are hoping to get Nadiri closed off within the next 30 minutes. But boy, we are cutting it fine. Sean, he's a left field idea, play 2 up front. I don't disagree with that here. Do you know, I think Chermiti and Miovski might actually be ideal partners for each other? I mean, it's crossed my mind plenty of time. Again, I'm not saying either one of them is the answer, but if we're lacking, if we're playing in Scotland at the end of the day, you can play 4-4-2 in Scotland. Maybe the other formations, you want to play one striker. In Europe, you want to crowd the midfield a bit more. If you want to play with a back 3 with 2 wing backs, whatever you want to do in Europe, that's fine. In Scotland, 4-4-2 is more. You get away with that, no problem. In fact, just about every club that we play against in Scotland is playing 4-4-2. So, yeah, I don't see why we don't do it, Sean. To be honest with you, yeah, I know it will never catch on, mate. But it is what it is. We can but dream. I honestly think that Chermiti and Miovski up front as a 2 is probably worth a try. I was talking earlier on before you joined as well, Sean, that if we'd got Archer and Nadiri at the time, that sounded as if it was still possible. Those 2 together would have really made sense to me. That would have been a great combination in my opinion. But we further, it transpired that Nadiri or Archer were the options. It was never going to be both of them. And Nadiri was the priority. So Nadiri, again, still waiting to get that done. But I don't know. Who do you play with Nadiri? If you're going 2 up top, Jack, who do you play with Nadiri? Out of Miovski and Chermiti?
I'm going to say, I think I'm going to go for Chermiti. Just on the, I don't know enough about Nadiri. From what I've seen, he likes to be more in the box. So I don't envision him, not as in your like poacher striker, but he looks to get in the box rather like more so than like, Chermiti does. Can I imagine him and Miovski together? No. I don't know what I'm the 4-4-2, and I think it might just be the fact that I'm of a slightly younger generation, not that young, but 4-4-2 is maybe more dying as I get into football. Like, it wasn't dying, but like, I became more used to like 4-3-3s, false 9s, 4-2-3-1, all these kind of different formations. But I do think it could work. I mean, and I could be totally wrong, but I mean, I'm sure when Leicester won their, miraculous Premier League title, they were playing 4-4-2 or a variation very close to it, with the big kind of big man, target man of can't remember his name. But they had like Vardy, Okazaki, and they had the big centre forward that's going to drive me mad now, his name, but that did work for them, and it was just kind of back to basics. My only concern with the 4-4-2 is like kind of getting creative, getting forward in terms of like, from the middle or from like, the wide areas. I don't know, but having the option of another attacker is never a bad thing. I don't know about Chimity and Miovski, but together as well. I mean, I'm sure there's been times when they've both been on the park together and it has not looked good at all. So I'm not convinced about the 4-4-2 yet. But I would be up for trying it, because see, after watching what I watched the other night, there's got to be a change, particularly with the fact that there's not going to be a creative player added in terms of a number 10, or that creative number 6, someone who can really dictate. I think something has to be tweaked, definitely.
I don't know if I don't know. Sean's saying here 2 6'3" monsters. Well, Nadiri's 6'4" anyway, but yeah, I said this the other day when we were talking about this as well, Jack. I don't see a great deal of variety with the three strikers. Assuming we get Nadiri with Miovski, Chimity, and Nadiri. I don't know enough about Nadiri. I'm not going to claim to know enough, but and maybe I'm just aesthetics, tall, beanpole. Maybe I'm getting carried away with that. But I don't. I don't know. I mean, I go back to the days where I've always been used to having your target man and your little fox in the box. Do you know what I mean? And that's always worked for me when I think about a 4-4-2. I think about those days of. And you're right. I'm going back a long way here, but McCoist and Haitley and. Even we were talking about Purcell earlier on, Purcell and Novo and, stuff like that. But, maybe two 6 foot odd beasts up front is what we need. Maybe. I don't know. They need to be able to finish, though. So that will help. Chimity's not, he's missed a few. I don't know. He's got him on target, but he just seems to hit them straight at the keeper too often. That's whenever he does get in on goal.
I mean, well, his second goal at Celtic Park, it wasn't exactly a clean contact, in terms of the strike. It wasn't a clean strike. So he's definitely not like a clinical finisher. Again, and I'm going back to, and I've said this before, clips, etc. you see online. I can't find many ways to watch much German third division football, but Nadiri's finishes, from what I've seen, like there's quite a few first time finishes in there. There's one in particular, the ball's, I'm not going to say a half volley, but the ball's kind of coming in over his shoulder. He's running onto it, and he kind of opens his foot sideways and just puts it in. Like, it's just first time. It's quite a tricky finish, and I'm like, aye, he can do that. Chimity wouldn't do that. Miovski probably has the potential to do it, but in the way he is, in terms of, like, I get a sense of a real lack of confidence from Miovski at the minute. That I don't feel him they could do that. Danilo certainly wouldn't have done it. Yeah, it's I don't know. Again, but I'm interested about how we're going to play. With this kind of style of striker. I don't know enough about him. And I just find what I wanted to say was quite strange is there was a couple of weeks ago, a week and a bit ago, when Danny Rule talked about this WoW signing. And I'm like, where's the WoW signing? We're all saying WoW because of the amount of money we've spent. And it's more like WoW as opposed to WoW. So I don't know. I'll be interested to see how it pans out. I really just wish they would actually confirm it, but because as I said to you, they're going to make us wait till 11 o'clock. To be fair, he was only there at 10:10, but they need to get it done.
They do indeed. I don't know what. I'm just checking here what time the Dutch transfer window closes at, but to my knowledge, Danilo has still not signed for Neck. That's another one that I wonder if surely they're not waiting for the Nadiri confirmation before he gets allowed to move.
Well, they were waiting on obviously that being a green light, but I mean, if you think if he's at the training ground, it depends how much is still to be done, I suppose. Because if they think they're going to get it through, then by all means, why would you not, sign off on it.
Netherlands both keep their windows open until Thursday, the 3rd of February. Thursday, the 3rd of February? Tuesday's the 3rd of February. It says Tuesday. Sorry, I'm blind. Okay, that makes sense. There was reports earlier on, by the way. I've not covered Danilo yet today. Forgot about him, to be honest with you. It just shows you how good a season Danilo's been having. There was reports earlier on that Danilo had we knew that he was in the Netherlands a couple of days ago because he was spotted at the NEC game, NEC, whatever you call them. He was spotted at their game in the crowd. It was reported earlier on this morning that Danilo had actually returned from the Netherlands, which kind of put rumours that he was about to be transferred on loan to NEC to bed. However, in the afternoon, it was confirmed again by reliable sources that he was indeed still in the Netherlands. And then we hear later on tonight that Danilo, they're basically been waiting to get confirmation that we can get another striker done before Danilo can move on. That makes a lot more sense if it's tomorrow that the Dutch window is still open. So I think if we can get Nadiri done, which we now have 19 minutes to get that done, then I think we can safely assume that Danilo will be a NEC player tomorrow. Is it NEC? Is that what you call them? Says NEC, so I'm not sure, but I've always wondered about that club. Is it NEC?
I've always done the whole NEC. Is it NEC Breda? NEC Brada? I'm not sure what one.
Yeah.
Or is it? Yeah, I've always done the NEC separately. I'm sure there actually has dots in between all the letters. All
right. So I shouldn't call them NEC anymore. Is that what you're telling me? It was easy, simple. You just complicated my life, Jack. Cheers. But yeah, hopefully. The only thing about Danilo, apparently there was a $2 million offer from the Cypriot team. Is it Paphos? Paphos, is it? They had offered €2 million. Apparently, Danilo did not want to go there, which would have been nice to have got to get that €2 million back on him. If he goes to NEC, I don't know if it's going to be an option to buy. I'd be very surprised if it's a obligation to buy. But Danilo's still got a few years left in his contract. Like, he could be around for this. Might very well not be the last we see of him. So, and we've spoke about Danilo. I feel bad about the whole Danilo situation and how it's worked out for him with the impact injuries that he's had, and a lot of fans have, they've been quite negative about Danilo. I don't believe it's necessarily been all of his fault. He's just damaged goods now by the looks of it. Certainly does not look like that player that once put his face in the danger zone and got it smashed. So yeah, I wish Danilo all the best, but I really wish we'd have got a permanent transfer out of this one, and that looks unlikely at this point. So as we are, for anyone that's joining us late, we will be here until the end of the window. There is 16 minutes left on the transfer window. We are waiting for the only possible transfer that seems to be still on the cards, despite prior reports earlier on that Nadiri had been confirmed. That was premature. Nadiri has still not signed for Rangers. He is at the Rangers training ground as we speak. So we expect this to get done, but no confirmation as of 10:44. 16 minutes for the transfer window. The only other movers today, Joe Rothwell has moved out on a permanent to Sheffield United. So he joins Dowell, who has moved to Hull on a permanent. Cortez came back from Spain, went back out on loan to Hurricane on loan. They have an option to buy. Lyle Cameron is at Aberdeen on loan. Finlay Curtis has moved to Kelly last week on loan. Clinton Enciala has joined Westerlo on loan with an option to buy. And like I said there, Danilo, it looks like potentially we'll go to neck tomorrow if we can get the Nadiri transfer across the line tonight. So that would mean our transfer window for this January 2026 is two Romans, our left back from Westerlo for 3 million, Toshe Chukwani, centre mid from Graz for 4.3 million, Skov Olsen, our right winger from Wolfsburg, on loan with an option to buy. We don't know what that option to buy figure is. There are reports that it could be as much as 10 million, could even be more than that, but that's some of the reports that are out there. And then we are potentially looking at the earlier report was 5.5 million euro, rising to 6 million for Ryan Nadiri after we had originally offered 2.5 million for him at the start of the window. Sorry, not at the start of the window, the start of last week. It does appear that Hansa Rostock have us over a barrel to get this one done, and we are now up potentially around about 6 million euro at this point, I would imagine. But considering the report earlier on was premature and inaccurate, maybe the fee isn't that amount. We'll wait and see. You just know it'll be undisclosed, don't you? It's just the way it is. But it does appear that we have paid a lot more than we thought we were going to pay for a striker who has, again, nothing against the player. I'm just giving the facts here. A striker who was at Mönchengladbach, did not kick a ball for them in the first team, only played unders football for the Mönchengladbach team, moved to Hansa Rostock for 200k at the start of last season. 200k. Well, I think it's. I think it was in the summer last season. So we're talking about 18 months later, potentially moving on for 6 million euros, 5.5 million euros, whatever it is. We're advised that that is a record in the German third division. He's played 18 games, I think it is, for Hansa Rostock. He scored 7 goals, a couple of assists in there as well. He does look a decent player. I don't think there's much doubt. There was reports that a couple of teams in Germany, Kaiserslautern previously, were looking at him, and more recently, Red Bull Salzburg were extremely interested in him. We're led to believe if we did not get a deal done, whether it was for the summer or for this window, if we didn't get that deal done now, it might have been another one of those cases where if we don't get it done now, we wouldn't get it done at all in the future because there was interest in this player. Still, it's a lot of money. No getting away from it. Again, just facts. It's a lot of money. And nothing against the player. I am positive that he's going to be a superstar before anybody pans me. It's just a lot more than we anticipated spending for a player from the German third division. Sean is saying, is this referring to Nadiri? Sean, I think it is, yeah. A lot of clips of him setting up others for strikers. I did see that as well, mate. There is apparently in the unders he played a lot as a second striker as well, playing off the main striker. Doesn't seem to have been the case at Hansa Rostock. He's been the main man there. But yeah, I did notice that he does bring other players into play. He's quite good at it. So that could be something. But who does he bring in? Who does he bring into play? Is he bringing Fellow into play? Is Fellow going to play behind him? I don't know. I don't know what the answers are there. It's an interesting one, but an unknown. It's anyone that says they know much about this guy is there's only so much you can do off of a few YouTube clips. I'm surprised you said earlier on you've not seen more of him, Jack. You must have lost your German third division subscription. I don't know, but yeah.
I was just thinking there, just as you're talking about him playing as this kind of second striker and he's bringing players into play. Is that and not? And this might be the modern football manager enthusiast in me as well. Like, do you not have that kind of not a 10, but like you're saying, more of a second striker role, and that almost eliminates the need for a fellow Asgard, and as that player drops in and plays the out and out striker in and behind? If not, does he drop back enough that then your wingers are kind of making those runs in behind, kind of cutting in behind the fullback in terms of them playing them in? I don't know how I envision it working. But I mean, I just can't believe the amount of money it's been spent on that. I can't believe the amount of money it's been spent in general, if I'm totally honest with you. As we were saying earlier on, I can't remember a transfer window or 2 transfer windows like that for any amount of time. I just, he's definitely got a pressure on him to come and, really kick the ground running. I mean, he's joining in the middle of a title fight, a 3-way one at that. So, I mean, hats off to him as well if he thinks he can come in and do it, I suppose. But it's, I mean, he's not the only striker, I know that. But I mean, at that money, I'm saying at that money, I mean, you've got Jermaine who we spent the best part of 8 to 10 million on, and then you've got a guy who's said not played any real senior football, and he's now getting spent the best parts up to £6 million. And if he doesn't have a good goal return in this half of the season, or at least improve the general play, there will be questions asked in terms of the actual recruitment, not in terms of the money spent.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing. I think you don't want to be going down the route of, throwing good money after bad. I think that's the fear for a lot of fans as well.
I just can't help but feel that we've been fleeced here, mate. Again, nothing to do with the player before. Again, don't pan me. I'm not being negative about the player. I feel like they've seen us coming and absolutely bent us over a barrel here. The situation with Archer, I think we probably accepted that we were getting the Deary. I mean, I'm speculating here, but we probably expected we were getting the Deary at the end of the season, so we'll take Archer on loan until we get the Deary in at the end of the season. Then all this dominoes that's going on down in the English Premiership between Southampton and I think it was Palace and Wolves, wasn't it? The different players that were, if one leaves one, then they need to backfill, etc. And Southampton were saying that they wouldn't let Archer go until that was done. We're late into the day today, and none of those deals were still getting done. You can only imagine that the club was then saying, "Oh, we need to find an alternative." We were led to believe that there was other options out there. Was it just these two? Was it Archer and Nadiri? Was that it? Bear in mind, if it does end up around about the £6 million mark, or £5.5 million even, we've spent that on Chermiti, obviously, in recent times. Danilo, we spent that kind of money on him. I know, Sean, I hear you. He might turn out to be Van Basten, do you know what I mean? I'm saying in terms of that money for a player from the German third division. I mean, it is a German third division record already at 5.5 million. If it's even more than that, it's just the context of it is just, it's a lot of money for a player from that level. But he might be worth every penny and then some, and that's what we hope. But could we have got him even cheaper? That's I suppose that's what I'm saying. Continental has formally confirmed, So just Jack there is confirming what was said earlier on, that NCL's option is for £1 million, not euro. Great, that's a couple hundred extra euro. So, listen, he's by all accounts a player in demand in Germany, regardless if he's in the third division. Hansa Rostock are not a third division club, really, are they? They should be up, and at least maybe it's been a while since they were a Premier club, but they're not a small club, so I suppose the demands on them down there would be reasonably high. But we're coming towards the end of the window, Jack. We've got 5 minutes, and he's still not announced. I'm hearing from reliable people that this probably Rangers will not formally make the announcement, even if it's signed. They're going to do all their media stuff. So we're not going to get an announcement until God knows. This looks like
funny, right?
he's at the training ground, so like it's. I think we can assume this is done.
Stick him in the Rangers top. Give him a scarf. Put him above the head. Take a picture. At least we can all go to bed happy. Then the morning you can do your interview and your, I mean, this is the one thing for me, right? I don't mind a lot of the social media stuff, and I like it. It's all a bit of fun and that, but just get the player announced. Do you know what I mean? Like on transfer deadline day. I know I'm saying a bit like a Grinch, but I mean, people are waiting all day for it. You know what I mean? And then if you're not going to announce it, just I don't know, put some kind of holding response, something out there. Just don't make people wait to bloody tomorrow.
Yeah, good night, Sean. Thanks for your contribution tonight, mate. We'll speak soon. Yeah, listen, I'm not going past 11 anyway. I'll maybe we'll close off at 11 just to confirm what the final number is. But yeah, I am not hanging around here all night waiting on Rangers media team to get this finalised. It's getting done by the looks of it. I mean, the guy's did his medical. He's at the training ground. I mean, there must be some real skullduggery going on here for this not to happen at this point. So yeah, listen, we've covered for anyone that is tuning in late. I know it's late, and thank you very much for joining us. We've got people joining in from YouTube and X. We are live for our first time ever doing a special for, as you can see, deadline date. We have had stories back and forth all day. The biggest one of which was I wouldn't say the biggest story, but the biggest transfer number that was rumoured today from a Rangers perspective was Nico Raskin for 30 million to, was it Brighton? I think it was Brentford, wasn't it?
Brentford, I've seen it for Brentford.
30 million, Nico Raskin to Brentford. It was quickly shot down as absolute pish. 30 million. I don't know. If that was legit, would you have took it?
I'm going to say no. I mean, especially when you've got the World Cup coming up, if he gets to go. Yeah. I know it sounds absolutely bonkers to say that when we've talked about the Chermiti and the Gisama, but I think about that whole kind of not upsetting the balance and the core. Like, I feel that he's one of the more kind of core members of the group, not just talking about like as a footballer, but being in that dressing room in that kind of area. I don't think he's particularly played his best all season. Like he's definitely been up and down, but I think if he could go and have, just for argument's sake, comes back, win the title, he goes to the World Cup with Belgium, has a good World Cup, then that money, I can't remember what it says, but that money could potentially be there. But
he's only going to have 1 year left in his contract, mate, as well, bear in mind.
Yes, that I am aware of. But even if, and he's coming back and we get offered anything from 15 to 20, then I think that's still, decent. But is that going to be the case? I don't know. But it doesn't matter because it's all done nonsense anyway.
It was a lot of fish. Just my 2 cents on this. I love Raskin. I'm on record as saying that he's the people's captain. Now, he's had a pretty poor run of form since I said that. Maybe, don't know if I'm a jinx or not, but I love Nico. I would have bit the hand off if it was that kind of money. Would have absolutely bit the hand off of any club for that. But you're right, like you said, absolute pish. Considering we'd signed Chukbani, I think that he could fill that void quite adequately. Kind of box-to-box player that Raskin is supposed to be, because Raskin isn't, just not a 6. I don't know why he thinks he is. No. So Raskin, 30 million, absolute pish. Chermiti was not back, between 13 and 15 million. We covered that earlier on. Gisama not back for 10 million apparently. So those were potentials that could have happened. What has happened, the window is now slammed shut. It is 11 p.m. in the UK. There is still no confirmation that Nadiri has signed. So just to give a summary of what's happened today, Ryan Nadiri was rumoured in the morning to have a verbal agreement in place between Rangers and Hansa Rostock that Ryan Nadiri would join Rangers at the end of the season. Earlier on in the afternoon, it transpired that Ryan Nadiri was now travelling over to the UK to do a medical, that Rangers were now pursuing to make that deal permanent now instead of at the end of the season. The Archer deal that was potentially the support to or the secondary choice if Nadiri wasn't getting done in the January window. The Archer deal got complex, a lot of moving pieces there. It does appear that Rangers said, right, let's just try and get the Nadiri one done. Nadiri has been in the UK for most of the day doing medicals, waiting for the two clubs to agree a fee. Around about 2 hours ago, it was prematurely announced that Nadiri was a Rangers player and the two clubs had agreed a fee, etc. Reported to be about 5.5 million euro, rising to 6 million euro. We were then advised that the two clubs had not agreed. And since then, we have been waiting. Ryan Nadiri has been pictured on camera arriving at the Rangers training ground around about 45 minutes ago. He is there. So we can only assume Ryan Nadiri is getting done. But we cannot sit here all night waiting for the Rangers media team to get this one announced formally. Who knows what could happen, but I'd be very surprised if Ryan Nadiri is not a Rangers player and it's announced tonight, or if not tonight, they might just fuck with us some more and do it tomorrow. Other rumours, Danilo is in the Netherlands at the moment, I believe, waiting for the Nadiri deal to get done. Danilo, the transfer window in the Netherlands does not close until tomorrow, so that there is still time for that deal to get done. Others, so all the ins of the window, Tua Romans, left back from Westerlo for 3 million. Toshi Chukwani, centre mid from Sturm Graz, 4.3 million. Skov Olsen, right winger, loan with an option to buy. Reports of anywhere around 10 million for that option. And then Ryan Nadiri, potentially we're hearing around about 5.5 million. Players out, Danilo, as I mentioned, over in the Netherlands, that should get done. Joe Rothwell went to Sheffield United today on a permanent. Dow moved to Hull last week on a permanent. Cortez came back from Spain, went out on loan again to Hurricane on loan with an option to buy. Lyle Cameron moved to Aberdeen on loan. Finlay Curtis moved to Kelly on loan. And yesterday, Clinton Enciala moved to Westerlo on loan with an option to buy. The option is for £1 million. That is the window, Jack, in a nutshell. We have spoke for 2.5 hours. My throat is as dry as a nun's thing. Tell there. But it's been fun, mate. I wish we could have had more, but it's been nice getting an opportunity to engage with at least one of the fans anyway. Sean, thank you. It's been nice having you guys tune in live. It's our first time going live, and we'll be doing more live stuff moving forward, but need a bit of a larger audience before we do this, because the engagement is the fun part of that, right? So, but obviously we had to go live today for the deadline day live. Otherwise, it wouldn't be live. So yeah, Jack, closing comments on the window. Are you satisfied or frustrated? Somewhere in between? What's the script for you, mate?
I think I'm in between, but I'd definitely say I'm more on the satisfied side of things. You know, for all intents and purposes, looks like we've got a striker. You know, we got 3 deals done pretty fairly, you know, sharpish early on. Some frustrations about players maybe we sent out. But all in all, I mean, I find it hard pressed to argue that we're in a worse place than when we went into the window, if that makes sense. So, I mean, there's definitely more quality in there, or it seems to be.
Yeah. Well, we've addressed the left back, right? I mean, in terms of that, whether you say it's a starter or a backup, at least we've got two players for that position now. The right wing, Ant-Man just wasn't cutting it, was he? Plus, he was injured for a significant period there. We've already spoke about Finlay Curtis. That's the only. I mean, for me, the Finlay Curtis one is and Lyle Cameron, the only ones that I'm really not in alignment with. But listen, I trust the club. I think Skov Olsen will come good. I think Toshi Chitlani looks like a really decent player, and we will see how the new striker gets on. But that is it for the day, lads. I thank you very much again for tuning in. If you want to say your goodbyes, Jack, we can let the guys get on their way.
Yeah, thank you very much for everyone who's sat and listened to, well, at least me talk for 2 hours. Absolute, all my dreams and wishes for the transfer window that maybe didn't come to fruition. But as Chris has said, we thoroughly appreciate it. And thank you for tuning in. So until next time, we will see you soon.
Thank you very much, all. If you could drop us a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, we would greatly appreciate it. The response we're getting has been fantastic, and we're just 2 guys doing a pod talking about the club that we love and nothing more. So the fact that we have anyone tuning into us is great. So thank you very much, and we will be back again at the start of next week for our next recording. Until then, enjoy your evening and happy transfer deadline day.
We are gold and blue, born in 1872, the greatest team in the world. We are known as we follow on. We are the people through and through, the gold and blue since 1872. With our hearts on fire, we rise to the call.